Yes, team, what a guest. Jermain Defoe, a Premier League great. Loved listening to his story. He's a great guy as well. I hope you enjoy it. If you could like and subscribe so we can get more of these massive names, it'd help us massively. Cheers, enjoy. Yes, welcome to Open Goal, a Premier League hero, Jermain Defoe. What's happening, mate?
You doing, my man? You right?
Good? Forget football, you look gorgeous as well. So I put you down as the second best looking Tottenham player ever.
Who's the first?
Gary Doherty.
Gary Doc. Oh my God. I was going to say Janolo or someone, or Teddy or someone. Gary Doc.
Mate, you're in some nick.
Yeah, I still train.
What, so talk me through your daily routine.
Do you know what? My routine, in terms of like how I eat, is probably the same. My supplements, ginger, turmeric shots, all that. Do you know what it is? You know when you've been doing something for so many years?
Yeah.
To all of a sudden, like, just to stop doing it, it's hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because even if you're not playing anymore, you still try and keep the same routine.
You still play fives with your mates and that?
I haven't played fives for ages, but I'm playing soccer on the 15th.
Seen that.
So I've been running the last couple of weeks and that. I've been running, but I do a lot of bike. I'm out on a bike all the time.
Right. Any celebrities that you're desperate to smash?
Mate, anyone. As long as we win, I don't care, mate.
And you still got that mad winning mentality, mate?
Yeah, as long as we won last year, but as long as we win this year, I don't care.
What's the party like at Soccerhead?
Mad.
Any big names you can tell us that go like get steaming and go mental?
Everyone. But Robbie Keane's the man. Keano's the king of the party. He starts it off, and last man standing. Karaoke. Keano's the man.
I was on a night out with Liverpool legends v Celtic legends. He was the same last one standing,
mate. Unbelievable guy. And Keano would do that, right? He's the last man standing, and the next day in training, his best trainer.
Wow.
And then on a Saturday afternoon, you know what? It's unbelievable how he does it. But yeah, top man, innit?
Mate, not just look great, but Andy Halliday says to me, you smell amazing as well, and I smelt it as soon as you walked in the door.
Is that what he said?
What's the scent?
I love Mason
300
Francis.
goals at us, mate. That's 300 goals at us.
Exactly. Mason Francis, Satin Mood. Andy, what a guy though.
Like him?
Yeah, he was one of the ones.
Boring bastard, but a nice guy,
Oh, mate, what a guy. Him and Scotty Arfield. Andy was the one really that made you, I think, for the players that, because obviously you know that Rangers are a massive club.
Yeah.
Like, you know, do you know what I mean? And like, but he was the one that makes you really understand what it's about. You know, he's sort of like just a good guy. But when it was time to stick it on people, he would just stick it on them.
What,
like,
as in hit people?
Just everything. He'll tell them verbally, like he'll pull it on people. Because a lot of times, manager can't always do it. You know, that's come from the change rooms. And you put that sort of like demand on each other. But he was the one, I think, like, from what I remember, like he would let people know. Like, this is Rangers, you know what I mean? It was good.
Well, he's obviously a regular on here, but we're all desperate to know, what does he look like with his clothes are big, small?
Nothing to him, is it? Oh, he's
No.
Mate, ask Cal Lafferty. Ask Laff, he'll tell you.
He's got a message for you, mate. He sent us a message to show you.
This is a video for one of the greatest humans alive. So, JD, sorry I can't make it, mate. A couple of days ago, just had the birth of my baby daughter, and I've named her Jermain after yourself.
Shut up.
I'm sure the boys will look after you. And a question to kick us off is, I want to know if you're still vegan, because I don't even know if you know this, but when you signed with Rangers, because you were that good, every single player in the team tried to copy whatever you done. So everyone was there at the gym, and everyone tried a vegan diet. I personally lasted about 3 years, but I know that a few boys lasted a while. So, are you still vegan? Miss you, big man. All the best.
Legend, mate.
Good guy, isn't he?
Oh, it's proper, honestly. Him, I mentioned obviously Scotty Arfield.
We met Scotty for lunch the other day. He's a great guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I messaged Scotty recently. I think I'm going to try and go up and watch him play. But no, Andy's top man. And the vegan thing, do you know what it was? It's I'm like pescatarian. The vegan thing, I tried it, it's tough.
Yeah.
Like he said there, it's hard, man, to like, there's certain days you can sort of like eat like a vegan, like plant-based stuff, like just clean. Mm-hmm. But day to day, generally, I'm just like, I'll just eat fish.
Mate, what did you drink like Scottish stuff like Iron Brew and that?
Iron Brew, mate, that's the, every time I see that drink, it's just like, it's mad. They love it up there.
Mad for it, mate, innit? What, mate, you said off camera you love Glasgow?
Yeah.
What do you love about it?
Just everything. Just everything. I think the people are just like so friendly. It's weird. Like, and not just, I don't think it's just, not just because I'm a footballer and I play for Rangers and you get recognised, but I just think just in general, like, I remember like speaking to my mum and my family. Remember, my mum's following me everywhere. Like, when I got to Rangers, played 700 odd games. Do you know what I mean? So been around the block, seen everything. I remember saying to my mum, I said, you need to come up there. Like, Glasgow's like unbelievable. The people are so friendly. Like, and my mum come up, my auntie, my sister, everyone come up, and they loved it. They loved it. You would just walk around, and just like even people that probably don't even know football, like the older generation, like, oh, hi, you at? Like just speak to you in the supermarket. It was just unbelievable. I just love it there, the culture, and it reminds me of how I've been brought up. Like, because I grew up in East End of London, like just that working class background.
Yeah.
All they knew was to work hard, to provide, and I got that sort of like feel in Glasgow when like the people and that, and I just when I sort of like, because I always just watch. I'm an observer. I always watch people, and it just seemed to me that they just love football, but they'll just work, look after their family, watch football. That's all that mattered, and it was just like, it just reminded me of the way I grew up.
Nah, it's an amazing place, you're right. Any places you like to eat? A few shout outs to any restaurants?
Lasagne Turner.
Nice, mate.
In the West End.
Western Road.
Yeah, mate, honestly, when I went in there eating, I was sort of like, I was just ordering to the house. Obviously, my first year was in Bears then, so, and there's another one, Italian. You go in.
Costanza?
No, and they've got the cakes at the front.
Eusebi's.
Eusebi's.
How good, mate.
Listen, Lasagne Turner, Eusebi's is like, mate, it's both of them restaurants are the best.
But we did this on the podcast, mate. Geez, your last
Eusebi's, at one point, I said that's the best Italian I've been to.
Wow.
And I'll go to all the Italians in London.
What a shout.
In terms of like the food, how fresh the food is and that the dessert bit.
Strawberry tart.
Yes, it's a joke.
How good, mate. If I didn't get free food in Eusebi's,
see them donuts that they got, they're massive donuts. Got to keep the lads away from that, innit?
Oh, your last ever meal would be your last ever dream starter, main, dessert. Just quickly pick your last ever one. What would be your three courses?
I'd have a nice prosciutto, nice big tomatoes, onions, garlic, all that sort of stuff. Then I have like, I think I'd have like a nice pasta, you know.
What's
a nice pasta, like a tomato sauce, loads of garlic, and then I'd have one of them tart
Strawberry
things.
tarts.
Or I'd have like the banoffee pie.
Oh, nice, mate. And then you get one last drink. What were you having? Didn't
Iron
drink
brew.
alcohol. Iron brew.
Yeah, just fucking just buzzing
Turn
around
yourself
everywhere.
Iron brew,
Get that sugar rush.
We did another thing on the podcast. I want to get to know you as a person as well. Pet peeves, anything in life that annoys you outside of football and in modern day football, anything that really annoys you?
What annoys me in football? I don't think it annoys me, but stuff that's different now. Like, listen, I know obviously times moved on and that, and I think the way the game's played is obviously different. I see a lot of teams, the way the game's played, they take a lot of risk, and sometimes I'm like, it's so weird to see it. Like, I'm talking about from League One or League Two all the way through into the Premier League. Teams do things sometimes. I think I was always taught, you know what I mean? Like, get the ball forward, give it to the match winners, give the ball to the match winners, and let them go and express and win the game. So if I'm a defender, I don't want too long on the ball. I'll just give it to a midfielder. You don't want too long on the ball. Give it to the forwards to go and win the game. But now it's different. A lot of centre-backs and goalkeepers are taking more touches now than wingers and centre-forwards. I don't like that.
Imagine playing a modern day game now, mate. You wouldn't get a touch of the ball.
Yeah, I don't like that. It just, for me, it's just like, as a centre-forward, if I was playing now, how many touches would I get? You know what I mean? And that's why there's a lot of young players in academies, probably centre-forwards, that don't want to be centre-forwards, end up wingers, and there's no centre-forwards. How many number 9s are out there?
Imagine Gary Docherty getting more touches than you at Tottenham.
Oh my God, Gary Docherty's player, he thought he was a centre-forward.
So he did.
Gary Docherty, he was a defender, he wants to play up front in trainers. What are you doing? Go back there.
Back here,
yeah.
And then what about outside of football? Anything that annoys you? Driving's usually a big one for people.
I'm banned.
Oh, yeah?
I'm on a ban again, yeah. Driving ban. Last time I was banned like 2 years ago. Got done in Glasgow. 2 years I got done last week. Driving in London. Do you know why? 20 miles per hour everywhere.
Oh man, that would fry my brain.
You might as well walk.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's so you go 23 and that, and then you know you got a ticket coming through the door. Do you know what I mean? But
they're good ones, mate. Like you said, you grew up East London, so talk us through the pathway for Sunday League team, Senrab, Charlton, then West Ham paying 1.4 million for you at 16-year-old. So again, as a kid, mum and dad take you to football?
Yeah, so mum and dad split up when I was like, I think I was about two or three really. And then my stepdad come into my life when I was 7. And then I think when I was at Simrab, my sister was just born. I was like 7, 8. So that was my first sort of like feel of football really. That was my first thing. But even before that, I was always kicking a ball. Like primary school, from the time I could walk basically. But Simrab was like, it was like the team to be at.
Right.
Like there's so many players that have come through Simrab.
Who else?
Like Muzzy, is it? Ledley King, I think Sol might have, Sol Campbell, obviously me, Leon Knight, Bobby Zamora, I think JT, I think John Terry might have played for Simrab. Mate, there's so many. So that was the sort of like the team to be at. We used to win everything. So that was sort of like my first team.
What made them so good? Was it the coaching? Yeah.
The coaches, just the coaching, the culture. I think we knew, even from then, even when we were 8, we knew that we were playing for Simrab and we had to win. It's weird. Like you think about young kids and it's all about like development, not too much pressure. But even when we was 8, 9, we understood very quick that you're playing for Simrab. The players before you, they'd always won. So
you need to follow that.
You have to follow it, yeah. You have to follow it. So, and we knew that and we did that. So it was amazing.
And what would that be? Your mum taking you to training every night?
My mum used to take me to training. Do you know Leon Knight?
Yeah.
Knight. So obviously my mum used to take me to training. Then my stepdad, obviously, like I said, when I was 7, came into my life, and then they would sort of like take me to training. Then Leon's dad used to pick me up, Bertie. Obviously he's from the East End as well. So he would sort of like get Leon and then pick me up and then we'd go training. And this was like for years. He did that for years.
What about living in the East End? Was there other temptations like your pals?
Loads. Temptations.
Ever close to going into that side of things?
No, because I think for me, I was too focused. I was like obsessed with football. So for me, it was just easy. And even if like, there was times when we moved from Canio Town, I lived in Canio Town because my mum had me at 18. So she was young, pregnant at 17, had me at 18. So I was still at my nan's house. So we still lived with my nan and granddad in a house. So when we moved out, we lived in a block of flats, me and my mum in Stratford, and then we moved to a place called Beckton. So in Beckton, we lived on an estate. So on my estate, there was like, from my house, there was like a cage. So we just go in the cage and play football. And literally you just be in there all day just playing football.
That's like an East London thing, isn't it, the cages? Because Sancho, I've seen the programme at Sancho now coming to the East End.
All day playing football. And this is the thing, like, even doing that helped my development. Because we used to play, I don't know if they do it in Glasgow, we used to play a thing called Wembley.
Right.
So there's one goalkeeper, of course, and then imagine there's like 15 of us. So the goalkeeper will kick it up and that, and it's...
You score you through?
You score you through. So basically...
We called it, huh?
Yeah, World Cup and yeah. Or we used to play a thing called Italian Night. So it was me against, 14. So it's 1 against 14 players basically. So you have to do all your tricks to score on that. And it was just like, it was unbelievable. We loved it.
So when did Charlton come in for you? 16? And
then so when I was like 10, me and Leon went to Charlton together. They saw...
Leon's a character, mate, and he came on trial at Swindon.
Yeah, he's a madman. So we obviously it was always, around East London, it was Jermain and Leon scored a lot of goals for Simrab. And we signed for Charlton together. Again, scored a lot of goals for Charlton and that. And then we went to a place called Lillyshaw. So Lillyshaw was like the football school of excellence, like an academy for the best sort of like 16 players in England. And I mean, the first trial, I remember I went for the first trial. And there was like 2,000 boys around the country, and you go for the trial, and then you get into the last trial, and this was actually at Lillyshaw, where obviously if you get picked, that's where you live for 2 years. So of course me and Nighty got in, and yeah, it was just like, and then Leon was at Chelsea at the time, and I was at Charlton, and then my second year at Lillyshaw. So when I was 16, I knew that I was in my last year. So then you have to sort of like pick the club that you want to go to. You know, like you do your YTS and you're in the building.
Yeah.
And I remember West Ham. Do you remember when they won the FA Youth Cup?
Yeah.
Again, they beat Coventry like 6-1. And then Joe Cole done that thing when he flicked it, right? So round about that time, and even before that, when I was 15, Harry Redknapp sent scouts out, because Harry was he was proactive. He was like 2 steps ahead. He was like, he obviously had Frank and Rio, and then obviously got Joe and Michael. So for Harry, it was like, right, who's the next one? Do you know what I mean? So then he sent scouts. We played against, Charlton played against West Ham. I think I scored a hat-trick. Something happened. And then Harry spoke to one of the scouts at West Ham, said, how have we lost against Charlton? No disrespect, but how have we lost against Charlton? And who's the kid that scored the goals? So one is Jermain Defoe, blah, 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 blah. So why is he not at West Ham? So Harry was like, no, go and get him. So then I knew at Lillyshaw, my second year, that I had a choice whether to stay at Charlton or go to West Ham. And it was a no-brainer, because obviously I'm from the East End. Charlton's like South East London. Right. Probably a longer drive for my family, my mum to get there. At West Ham was some of the boys that I played with for my district team was at West Ham. Also, I knew about Joe Cole, Mike, and all that sort of stuff. I was with Joe Cole at Lillyshaw. He was like my senior, so he'd left, got in the first team. So for me, it was like I'm joining in terms of academy, I'm joining the best in the country. But I didn't know it was going to be 1.6 million. I just thought I'd just go there and play football with my mates.
Did you bother about the 1.6 million, or did that even just go over your head?
Yeah, I didn't care. I was
just
like,
buzzing you're going to West Ham?
Yeah, I didn't
You
care.
get a few quid at that age as well?
Well, I signed a contract when I was like, and you can imagine, you know what's crazy, right? When I signed for West Ham, I was on like, I remember coming from the East End. They bought us a house in Chinkford. I was on £900 a week. So you can imagine this kid from the East End, right? Working class background, and you sign a contract, and I'm thinking, £900 a week, like, what am I gonna? But for me, it wasn't about money. For me, it was just about scoring goals. And because I knew, fucking, I'm going for 1.6 million. I ain't even kicked a ball yet. Yeah, there's potential in that, but there's no guarantee I'm gonna make it. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, 1.6. But I didn't look at it like, oh, it's pressure. I just thought, I'm just gonna go there and show everyone how good I am.
Amazing. So you bought your mum a house, sorry?
West Ham sorted it out, yeah. West Ham done that.
Was she obviously delighted?
West Ham moved us from the East End, moved us into a house in Chinkford, me, my mum, my sister, my stepdad. And then, signed my contract, and then that was it. And then I remember, I was 16, and then that next season, I was 16, but I played under 19s. We won the league, scored in every game, because Harry would watch the first half of every home game at Chadwell Heath, and then he would go to Upton Park and watch the first team. It's an unbelievable manager.
Yeah.
Like, took an interest in the academy. And then that next season, I made my debut, 17, scored, and then bang.
Amazing. I need to ask you, obviously, that you said the names there, Lampard, Carrick, Cole, Ferdinand. Who was the best as a kid?
Joe.
He was a joke.
Even to this day, I see young players, and I'm like, but I've still not seen anything like Joe. Because it was weird though, because it was, growing up in the East End, it was always me and Leon, but different, like more goal scorers. But in terms of seeing someone do stuff like with a ball, I say to people, Joe was like, he was like quicker with the ball than without. Like, it was just so weird. He used to do things, and me and Knight, it was like that. I was like, wow. I said, this is the level. Like, he used to do things in training. I was like, wow, I've never ever seen anything like it. And even now, the stuff that Coley was doing back then, I've still not seen it.
Nah, mate.
But if he was here now,
soccer, I'm like,
mate, he's so modest and humble. If he was here now, he'd just be like, nah. Like, but honestly, some of the things he used to do, didn't he get an England squad when he was 17?
Yeah,
training for England and that, but he was unbelievable.
We interviewed Kieran Dyer, and he said when he was at Ipswich, a lot of the senior players didn't like that sort of younger generation coming through and taking their places. Did you find the same at West Ham?
I was lucky, to be fair, because I had good people around me. I had, like, obviously Rio was there. And another thing as well, I say to people, imagine a 16-year-old kid here that signs for West Ham. So you can imagine I'm buzzing. And then growing up, from a young kid, I had Ian Wright's posters all over my wall. I was obsessed with Wrighty. I know every single goal. I used to watch his movement, the finishing, everything, right? And this is why, when I was young, the papers, they did a thing and they said, there's this young kid that's a clone of Ian Wright, in terms of like the movement and the finishing and stuff. So I'm buzzed. I'm thinking, Wrighty's at West Ham. He's at the back end of his career and that, but he just so happens to be there. Like, these things are just like meant to be, right? So as I've got to the training ground, I come out the car, who's standing? The first people I meet is Harry. Harry's obviously said to Wrighty, JD's coming now, his family come. Harry ended up standing there waiting for me, and Ian Wright. I'm 16. Like, it's just like, it was, honestly, it was the maddest thing. The love from Harry, Wrighty gave my mum, like, it was just unbelievable. And then I remember I walked in, I can hear someone like screaming my name, where is he? He's young, where is he? It was like Rio. So I've gone into the treatment room, Rio's there and Frank, first team players, like buzzing that I've come. Like, it was just, honestly, it was.
Surreal, mate.
Yeah, it was mad.
What other posters do you have on your wall?
But like I said, yeah, go back to your question. So I was lucky that I never had like, senior players that were idiots. Do you know what I mean? Because these were top players like Trevor Sinclair, Paolo Di Canio, Freddie Canute, Wrighty, Steve Lomas, Razor. They were good with it. They were used to young players coming through.
Yeah.
They just protected me and just helped me just develop.
Amazing. Di Canio was my manager at Swindon.
Oh my God.
What was he like? He's a madman, isn't he?
He's the maddest player.
He's an example.
Just everything. I remember we mate, there's just so many stories. Like, because what I used to do, I was like a sponge. So my first year, I was in the youth team. So what I was doing is I finished training, and then I'd wait for the first team to come in. Then I'll just walk down. I'll just sit there. I'll sit there and talk to like Frank and Rio. And I'll just watch Paolo, watch what he's doing. He's on the massage bed before and after training, in the ice bath, doing all the good stuff and that. And then like, it was so good with the youngsters as well, you know, to be fair. I'd have banter with him and all that sort of stuff. But when I got in the first team, mate, he was just mad. I remember one game, right? So he got injured. So he went to Italy. If Paolo got injured, you know what he's like, he does his own thing. Yeah. And Paolo Di Canio, and to be fair, he was the best player, but he could do what he wants. So he got injured, Glenn Roeder was the manager. So Glenn, around about that time, we signed Les Ferdinand. So it was me, Les, Paolo, and Freddie Canute. But I think Freddie was injured or something, because I think around about the time it might have been Ramadan and that, and then he picked up an injury.
Right.
So me and Les was playing. So me and Les was scoring goals, but Paolo was in Italy for like 3 months. He's injured,
fuck off,
right?
back,
Yeah. All of a sudden, Paolo's come back in. We've got Leeds. Imagine he come back on a Wednesday. We've got Leeds on a Saturday, big game. So we're just talking amongst the lads and that. And then Leslie said to me, JD, this guy thinks he's going to come and just come in the team and just play. Because that's what would normally happen. Les goes, not having it. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. I said, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to go to the gaffer and tell him. So Les has gone into, knocked on Glenn Roeder's door, walked in with his boots. He said, I'm telling you now, if you start Paolo tomorrow, here's my boots, I'm done. I'm done. Me and, like, what's it? Like, because Jermaine's done well, we've done well together. No, Les, no, it's you and Jermaine up front, blah, 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 blah. I'll speak to Paolo, no problem. So I remember we come in the change rooms and, you know, remember the flip charts, the old flip charts and that, this is the team.
Yeah.
So obviously Glenn's got the team and stuff. So Paolo's sitting there. So everyone's quiet. And obviously, I don't think Glenn told him. So I'm sitting there like this and it said Defoe, Ferdinand up front. All of a sudden, Glenn stopped talking. Paolo's just got his wash bag. He stood up. He's like, the Canio don't sit on the bench. He walked out. No word of a lie. He walked out. I said, Paolo's not sitting on the bench. He walked out, gone. Didn't see him, gone. In his car,
home.
He's gone. He's not sitting on the bench. I ain't sitting on the bench. I'm going home. Just walked out.
Amazing.
I remember I'm a young player, I'm thinking, this guy is mad.
Did he not park in Glen Roeder space one day as well?
He does what he wants. He'll park anyway, he does what he wants. Even I remember games where you come in and the manager, like, say you play shit the first half and you're losing whatever. Mate, come in and say like the gaffer's standing there talking. Paolo's standing up and he's talking over the manager. And then I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, like he's a madman, but what a player though.
Was he the best player in training by a mile?
The best player. I never took no days. When I was in the youth team, I remember we trained on the pitch over there, small training ground. Say the first team's here. And then loads of times we've been on a Wednesday because you're on the youth team, you train every day. And then we know the first team's off. But you can see someone in the distance just running on his own. Paolo, all the time. He never took days off.
No, we never had it. We never had a day off in 4 months at Swindon. And every day for 4 months.
It's not good.
Would he shave his body head to toe? I'll never forget seeing his arsehole in the sink, mate, getting shaved.
Everything smooth. And everything he wears is fitted and tight and like, mate, it was unbelievable. What a guy.
And how was he with you as a young kid?
Huh?
How was he with you as a young kid? Would he take you under his wing or was he more interested in himself?
Nah, mate, with me, because he knew how much I love football and that and I wanted to learn. And then when I scored a lot of goals when I trained with the first team, when I sort of started, made my debut, I scored. Yeah, he sort of took me on his wing because I remember my first Premier League goal was against Ipswich and I come on and I scored. But what happened, I think he picked up an injury. So he was coming off, then I was going on.
That's right.
So normally for a young player, you give me the armband in my hand to give to someone. Frank was on the pitch, Trevor Sinclair, Joe, everyone was on the pitch. As he's come over, he's took it off and he's put it on me.
Skipping on your debut.
Right, my first Premier League. So he's put it on me and I've come on, just left it on. I thought I ain't giving this to anyone. And I come on, scored, and it was like, mate, it's crazy.
Amazing. Were you playing the game at Bradford when he sat?
No, I was in the youth team, but I was there watching. That sums him up. He sat down on the pitch, so I'm not playing. Harry, take me off. And then I was like, nah, Paolo, please. It's so funny when you hear him tell the story. Yeah. Please, and he just thought, and he heard everyone singing Paolo Di Canio, like, Paolo Di, and he got up, and honestly, it was just like, but that's crazy though, because when you watch that game back, he should have got back 3 penalties.
Yeah.
But no one else is doing that. Do you know what I mean? Anyone else was sort of like, probably just going around and start smashing people, whatever. He sat down on a pitch and people just walking past him with the ball. When have you ever seen that in Premier League history? In fact, in any football, like, when have you ever seen it? You've never seen a player do that.
Would any of the players ever pull him up and tell him to get up?
No, do you know what he said to me as well, right? Do you remember when he was arguing with Frank? He missed a penalty again, because to be fair, he didn't miss many penalties, but he missed one on the Saturday, and I think midweek or something. We played against Villa. He might have missed against Villa. Then anyway, he was arguing with Frank, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was taking the penalty, yeah. So
I remember after, right, I remember saying to him, when I got into the first team and that, I was saying to Paolo, I said, remember when you and Frank were arguing? I said, what happened? He goes, like, I'm obviously the penalty taker because I missed. He wanted to take the penalty. So I said to him, no, give me the ball. But he said, Frank's very lucky because if he didn't give me the ball, like, he's lucky because if he didn't give me the ball, I was going to sit on a penalty spot. And then I wasn't going to move until they abandoned the game. He said, I was going to sit on the penalty spot and then they would have to, like, I said, what? He said, and I said, you what? You wouldn't move? Because So I'm getting in his head. He goes, no. They would have to abandon the game. Like, everyone has to go. I'm not moving.
That's so good, isn't it?
No, that's what he's like. Honestly, he's mad.
See, like Redknapp, how you handled the Bradford situation, does that sum up his genius as a manager as well? Just an amazing man manager.
The best.
Is he, mate? Is he the best manager?
Yeah.
Have you got a lot of
see, if he
respect
managed, if he went to Rangers or something like that, like he would have, like they would have loved him, because he would have had like he would have had days where fans come to the training ground, watch training, bring half term. Every half term, he'd have all the fans. Rangers different than that, because it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be about 50,000 people at the training ground. But like West Ham, like the fans would come in with the kids, watch training, and make sure all the boys pictures, sign everything. Like, yeah. But Harry just. He just knows that, he mastered it, to be fair, in terms of like that man management. Like,
do you think you would have the career you'd had if he wasn't your first manager?
No, because you wouldn't have got the chance so young. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So by the time, even David Pleats, by the time I signed for Tottenham, when I was 21, the amount of games I played and goals I scored in the Premier League, like, was because of Harry. Because a lot of players now, you see a lot of players that's got so much potential, they still don't even come through until they're like 20, 21. I mean, I made my debut at 17. He just threw me in.
And what is he like with young players? Is he on you all the time, or does he just let you have a freedom to go and play? Freedom's massive in football. People don't realise. Excuse me. I think a lot of players now, a lot of football now, like, it's so robotic sometimes. And with Harry, Sam Allardyce was the same, to be fair. It was just that freedom. Go and play. Obviously, you need structure and all that sort of stuff, and that this is how I want you to play. But players, the match winners, the final third. Go and do what you do. Could you go mad though, Harry? Did he have a switch in him?
Yeah, he'll go mad.
You remember a 100% time?
Yeah, loads of times where Harry will go mad. Like, even I remember Paolo saying, like, there was, like, he wasn't afraid to tell people. Can't you remember that clip at Portsmouth when the player
hit him with the ball?
Yeah, that's Harry, mate. When he starts going, whew, there's another one from East End of London. When he starts going, oh my God! But on the other side, he's a good guy, man. He's a good guy, and that's why players didn't take the piss. Why would you? Because the manager gives you freedom. And even off the pitch as well, like, he never used to fine players, because he said, what am I going to fine you when you probably got family members that could do with that money? Give it to them. Don't sort of like, do you know what I mean? Just make sure you do the right things and that. He was good, man.
Amazing. You scored the winner on your West Ham debut against Walsall in the League Cup, and then you were sent out to Bournemouth on loan.
Yeah.
Were you a bit baffled by it?
Nah, but for me, it was perfect, because it was like, because even if I stayed at West Ham, and then say you're on the bench for the first team, and you're sort of like coming on some games, like, your development, that's not going to help your development, because you need to be playing football. And I think if I didn't go to Bournemouth, where I scored in 10 consecutive games, I was playing league football every week for 6 months. If I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have had that sort of like the belief and the confidence and the sharpness to come back and get in the first team at West Ham and play in the Premier League. Because it's like, if I would have stayed at West Ham and played reserve football, and reserve football was, back then, it was like players that would come back for injury, first team players would come back for injury, even though it was competitive, but it was like, and if you're on the bench for the first team, you're coming on a little bit, and then you just stops your development. You're not scoring enough goals.
Yeah, you're not being amongst it every week.
You need to be familiar with all those sort of like situations in games and stuff like that, and that's what happened with me.
Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall played for Bournemouth at that time.
Yeah.
Were they dog shit?
Jason, do you know what do you know what they were? They were just like tough, man. It was just, that league. It was just like, they were just tough. Like, you know what defenders was like back then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do what you're good at, innit?
Was there any good players at Bournemouth at that time?
We had a guy called Klaus Jorgensen. Where was he? He was good. Wade Elliott.
Oh, Wade Elliott, how good player.
Narada, my boy, left back. Big Fletch.
Oh, Big Fletcher up front. Big Steve Fletcher.
This is the legend.
He's perfect for you, mate, isn't he?
Mate, honestly.
He just flick it on and you run through.
Mate, he used to bully people. It was he used to say to me all the time, Jay, just stay close to me. I just felt safe. When I played with him, I just felt safe, and I just knew, like, 9 times out of 10 he's going to win the header. Just bully people and that. Yeah. We had like good partnerships, scored a lot of goals and that. Cause I was only young, but I loved it there.
Top scorer at 18, mate. Did you hate interest for any other clubs after that?
Yeah, I remember Man United always used to like the United, and because obviously Harry and Fergie were close, weren't they?
Yeah.
But you know what it's like when you're young, you don't really sort of like, if you hear that, I don't know, Man United's in for, I need to start forcing this, telling me, nah, you just play football. You're just grateful to be in the first team so young, and you just play, and then whatever happens and that. But I was always linked with United when I was young.
Why do you think you never got to that kind of top level of team?
I don't know. I think I was linked with Liverpool loads of times. Then when I signed for Tottenham when I was 21, and then I had to spot at Tottenham, then I left. I went to play for Harry at Portsmouth with the team. It was the team was like unbelievable. Won the FA Cup. played against AC Milan at Fratton Park. Like it was the team was crazy, full of internationals. It's like David James. It was like Glenn Johnson right back. We had Sol Campbell, Sylvan Distan, Herman and right side. Diarra and Sully Montari.
Wow.
Nico Cranshaw, me and Milan Baros. Milan Baros got the golden boot at the Euros in 2004. And then like I went back to Tottenham. Lasagne Diarra went to Real Madrid. Sully Montari went to Inter Milan. Glenn Johnson went to Liverpool. So it was mad. And even after that, Sol went back to Arsenal. Like it was crazy. And then but before I went back to Tottenham, I nearly went to Juventus.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who spoke to you for Juventus?
Do you know Peeves Harvey, that super agent?
Right,
He's the one that phoned me and said to me, I'm taking you to Juve. So I was like, okay then. But I was close to going to Tottenham. The deal was getting done. And then Peeves was like, it's taking too long. I'm taking you to Juve. But because I'd already said to Harry, obviously I'm coming back, I said to Harry, and because it was Harry, maybe if it was someone else, you just don't know what would happen. But because it was Harry, I sort of like gave him my word. And at the time, Tottenham, when he got the job, I remember Tottenham in the bottom three, weren't they?
Yeah.
When they were, and then, so even though it was like, Juve and that, but at the same time I told Harry I'm coming back to Tottenham though. Do you know what I mean? So I just done that.
We'll come to that stage, but just going back to West Ham, you went back and Glenn Roeder used you as a sub. See, as a young kid, were you the type that would go and say, why am I not playing?
A couple of times. Glenn said to me one day, he goes to me, he said, Jay, you're young. He said, don't worry about it. Because what saved him, he put me on the bench a few times, and every time he put I'll score. I'll come on and score. So for him, he probably thought, he's a young player. A lot of time, young players, a lot of pressure, burnout, all that sort of stuff. You don't need to be playing 90 minutes. Because even the games where you're not playing, you still can come on for half an hour and make an impact. Do you know what I mean? And still get your development in training, and still featuring in that, but not starting every game. In terms of injuries, probably helped me. But there was a couple of times I knocked on his door and he just said to me, he said, listen, don't worry. He said, you're going to play in the Premier League for a year. He said, you're going to play for England. But you know when you're young, I'm thinking, yeah, but how do you know that? Like, I need to be playing. Like, I just want to play. He said, Jay, trust me. He said, you go on and play for England. You be playing in the Premier League and score loads of goals for years. Just, he knew. Were
you like that throughout the most of your career? If you weren't playing, would you chat with managers though straight away?
Yeah, sometimes. But sometimes it's one of those ones where with certain managers...
Who would hate it?
Managers are clever. Stevie's clever.
Stevie
G.
How?
I remember, what was it? So, obviously I knew, that sort of like stage in my career, I knew that I didn't have to play every game. Because I knew, like, especially at Ibrox, we should dominate the ball and win games. And there was times where I didn't start and I'd come on and score 2 goals in 20 minutes. So for me, it was the perfect balance. Like some games I'll play, some games Alfredo will play. And then it got to a point where I'll play, score 2 goals. Next game I won't play. Then Alfredo will score 2 goals. Then I'll score 3 goals. It was for the manager, it was perfect. Because it was almost like, we was in competition with each other, but we had a good relationship. So for the manager, it's like, the manager knew that if Alfredo played, he's going to want to score and stay in the team because he didn't have that competition before. Then he knew that if I played, I'd want to make sure I scored in that so that I played the next game. So for him, it was perfect. But there was one game where I remember the unbelievable pre-season, scored a lot of goals. And then I was scoring in that. And I remember one game, I thought, I'm going to knock on his door because I think I missed 2 or 3 games. I said, I'm not knocking his door. I need to play.
Be honest, were you nervous even though you were at that age knocking on Janar's door?
No, because I know him, innit? Like, Steve is like, I know him, obviously played with him for years with England and stuff like that. Even though it's still a little bit like, I'm not going to say to Gaff and that, but at the same time, it's a level of respect, innit? And it was funny, he's clever. So even before I got to it, he's like, you ready for the weekend? I was like, yeah. He goes, make sure, because Buff scored, Alfredo scored. He goes, you ready? Like, I said, yeah. I walked out and I thought, honestly, he's so clever. Because you know what it's like, something, it could actually kick off. You know, you can say something to the manager, and he can give it back, and all of a sudden it gets heated and that. But before he knew before he was like, anyway, you're starting the weekend, make sure you're ready and stuff like that. You ready to play? I was like, yeah. And then I think we played against Hibs at home. I scored a hat-trick.
He shot it for you, mate. He shot it 100%. See, how did that West Ham team get relegated with so much quality in it?
We left it too late. It was us and Bolton. We left it too late. But the last 6 or 7 weeks, last 2 months of the season, we were unbelievable. I don't think we lost last 6 or 7 games, but we just left it too late. Before that, it was like, you know when you've got a group of top players, but didn't really have a way of playing. It was just, everything was just off the cuff. I think if it was now, it'd be completely different in terms of like coaching. No disrespect to obviously Glenn and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, God rest his soul and that. But because we had good players, a lot of coaches are like that. You've got top players, just let them play. And then Trevor Brooking took over, and And yeah, we just left it too late and that. But we had some top players there. Les come in.
Top man, Les.
Yeah, a lot of experience and stuff like that. For me, it was brilliant. And that another player that I grew up watching, that I had a chance to play with, obviously to help me. So it was mad. But yeah, we left it too late that season.
And then a pivotal moment in your career, you handed a transfer request. Who told you to do that?
My agent.
And
Simon Bailiff, yeah. Crazy. But
this is what
I say to young players, and that if you get the wrong advice, like at the end of the day, like your agent's not getting all the stick in the papers. Mate, my face was on the front page of the Sun. It was like a rat, and then it was my little face. Mate, I was young.
Fucking hell, man.
So this
on the front page of the Sun.
Mate, this is why I was so resilient, and I didn't. That's why when I was playing, when I got to like Tottenham and even beyond that, mate, I never like when people talk about pressure, I didn't care. I was so resilient and thick skinned, and even when I went to the World Cup and that, I was like, I was like, I'm ready. I'm just ready, whatever. Because when I was exposed to so much when I was younger, like can you imagine seeing that as a young player?
What did your mum and that say?
What can they do though? Do you know what I mean? They just got to try and support you in that. But I just thought, this is mad. There was a lot of pressure for me at the time because I handed in the transfer request, ended up staying for like half the season. And then I remember that January I went to Tottenham and that, but I was getting stick from the fans, even though I stayed.
You got sent off 3 times in the first
before
half
Christmas.
of that season?
Yeah.
Was that
Three
just frustration?
3 games, then I got 5 games and I got 3 games. Alan Pardew was the manager. And in the evenings, I was coaching the kids in the evening. No one even knows. I was doing a bit coaching.
Under 18s?
No, I was coaching like the young kids at West Ham. Because I wasn't playing. I didn't play for like weeks. And then I didn't play. And I remember I got a call to go to Tottenham. I was thinking, I'm not even fit. I didn't even match for. I'm not even played for ages. I just kept getting sent off.
Was Pardew raging me?
Raging. And he said, you got to give something back. He said, the fans are killing you. He said, you got to give something back. You got to do something. And he said, like, just do. He said, let's just like, he said, in the evenings, after training, just stay behind in that and just coach the kids, the young kids in that. He said it would look good in that. I said, you know what? Yeah, no problem. So I did that. And then, like I said, still scored a lot of goals in that, and then got the chance to go to Tottenham in January. The both clubs obviously agreed the fee in that. David Pleat and signed me, then bang.
So who tells you about David Pleat? Is it just your is it your agent, or does David Pleat phone you directly?
My agent said, I've had a call from Tottenham. Does he want to come? Blah blah blah. Then they've spoken to West Ham. They've agreed a fee. I was like, yeah. This was on a Sunday night. I'm thinking I'm going to train on Monday. This on a Sunday night. I think the window's shut the next day. Everything was just rushed. I never no time to think about it. I was like, yeah, cool, no problem. Premier League, top players there. Obviously, I knew Ledley King anyway. Obviously, Robbie was there. Gus Poyet was there. Jamie, all that lot. Pleaty. Oh, man, what a guy. I remember his warm-ups. So old school's funny. But see, Pleaty, even to this day, my 2 years at Tottenham recently to finish my coaching badges, he would come to all the games, under 18s, and the opposition, he would tell you every single player from any team. He would tell you every single young player.
So he was on it,
Mate, it's unbelievable. Ain't he scouting now for Celtic?
Yeah,
mate, his football knowledge is... If you want to know about any young player, call Pleaty.
Really, yeah?
Call David Pleat. It's frightening.
Shows what his warm-up was like.
I can't even remember, mate. All I know, it was I remember thinking...
So the manager took the warm-up?
He used to take... Mate, we'd do the warm-up. There's a guy called Kunle, I remember. And then it was like an extended warm-up. Then we'd go with the gaffer. And then he used to make us do all this stretching stuff. I was thinking, this is mad. Pleaty's football knowledge. He's one of the first managers that said to me about my finishing with no backlift. He said to me, he said, when you finish, you have no backlift, like Robbie Fowler. He said, you don't see that with players. So I'm not seeing many players do that.
Wow.
Like, so he was just like...
Before his time,
Yeah.
You scored the opener in your debut, 4-3 win over Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, yeah.
How important is it to get a goal in your debut?
Yeah, I knew I'd score anyway.
Would you always go into the game just thinking I'm going to score?
Yeah, I knew I was going to score. 100%. Like, I knew, because what's mad with sometimes when you're at home, you paint all these pictures in your head. And I just thought, you know what? Like, nothing changes. Like, I scored on my debut for West Ham. Scored loads of goals in the youth team. I was always confident anyway, and I just thought, if I get a chance, I always fancy myself, if I get a chance, like if I play a game and I don't get a decent chance, fair enough, but I always felt that if I get a chance in and around the box, like I just always fancied myself to score. And it was funny because the goal was against Shaka Hislop, who at West Ham in the youth team, that's who I used to practice against. From a young boy, I always practiced against Shaka Hislop, and then I was signed for Tottenham, and then my first goal for Tottenham was against Shaka. It's mad.
Was Tottenham a step up for West Ham in terms of training as soon as you went in?
Yeah, because
standard of play.
The reason I say, I was lucky because I played with obviously good players at West Ham, but then everyone had gone. Then obviously West Ham got relegated. So back in the Premier League, and I wanted to play for England. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to get in the England squad.
There's a couple of players I want to ask you about. based on their personality and character, Edgar Davids.
Yeah, Edgar was like,
You love yourself.
yeah, mate, he come in to Tottenham, and at the time we were like, sort of like established players. So Edgar Davids is coming, so we heard that, oh, Edgar's coming. So obviously, as a football man, I'm buzzing. Like, we playing with Edgar Davids. And when I was at Lilyshore, playing him on Pro Evolution Soccer, like, you're playing with him, so I thought, oh, this is amazing. The names that are coming in, we're playing with and that. And then when we come in, the first thing he done, he went to the canteen and he went up to Jermain Dennis. And I don't know if JJ's told his story in that, and he basically just said to him, yeah, can I have the number 5 shirt? And then JJ was like, because JJ was number 5 at the time. And I think Dennis, because probably that level of respect in that, JJ was like, yeah, whatever, if you want it, I don't care. And then I think JJ was then 28. But so I thought, okay, because the Dutch players, they're confident, aren't they? Top players in that, but really confident. And after that, I remember one of the first games, we're sitting down in the change rooms, I could hear someone just smashing this ball, and I thought, what's that noise? In the showers, like, just like, pop around the corner, he's got the ball up against the wall, and he's like he's got it up against the wall, and he's like tackling the wall basically, and he's smashing the ball up against the wall, and I thought, just like, I thought, wow. And it got out there, mate, like first tackle on that, because he was a little rat when he Edgar and that, yeah, it was aggressive.
Was he a top player?
Yeah, it was good.
Is it true Robbie Keane battered him?
Yeah, it kicked off in training. That was, yeah, but when people say it kicked off on that, and it was like, you know, when everyone jumps in sort of thing and that, but yeah, no one battered anyone, but it was just like, but I remember it kicking off in training and that, but obviously Canio were going to have it, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Canio's like fire anyway, and obviously Edgar's flipping Edgar Davids, so.
Was he a joke, David? As in terms of quality?
It was sort of like the back end of his career, wasn't it?
Right.
So, it was like, obviously got all the respect from everyone at the club, because of what he's done and the clubs that he played for, but he was quite humble with it though, because when I used to say certain things to him, like, I said, you play for Juve and Barcelona. I said, Edgar, like, you're like, you know, have a little bit of banter in that. So you're Edgar, that, like, he'd be like, nah, I play with good players. I was lucky, I played with good players. Milan, everything that you want, Ajax, nah. Funny story, so we played against someone, European game, right? I remember at the time I had this apartment near the training ground. So we flew back to Stansted late. So everyone gets in their cars and that, and then the apartment was, yes, like, say 5 minutes from the train anyway. So I've got home, so I'm just chilling on my sofa, it was late. All of a sudden, just like bang, bang, bang on my door. So I thought, who's that? My mate was there. I was like, I think, who is that? Look for the thing, it's Edgar Davids. So I thought, so it's like, so I open the door, so Edgar, you're right. He goes, yeah, I don't want to go all the way back. I think he lived in Canary Wharf at the time. They said, we're in early for recovery tomorrow. I said, can I just stay? I said, yeah, cool, no problem. And I think he slept on the sofa. Mate, honestly, it was the maddest thing. So Edgar's come back to my house, slept on the sofa and that. I was thinking,
did he take his glasses off?
I think he did, you know.
Should have had them, mate.
I mean, oh, mate, can you imagine if it was like, see, there was Instagram back then and that. Imagine that, I'd have been Insta live. Look at this, Edgar's
on your couch.
Edgar Davids on the sofa and that.
What about Mido, mate? Was he was caked, wasn't he? Was he big time?
Mido,
funny.
Come. And at that time, everyone's earning decent money. Do you know what I mean? You're earning decent money. And I remember Mido come in, DB9.
Wow.
Right? DB9, Aston Martin. So I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Me and Robbie, top goal scorers, this kid's got a DB9. What are they paying him? Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking, this is mad. Anyway, and then obviously his family's got money and stuff like that. But he was just like, he was a top player, you know? Yeah, he was that strong. Do you know what I mean? He was strong in that, and he had a good left foot. He just smashed everything though. Wouldn't like caress him in the corner. He just smashed everything. Scored a lot of goals and set pieces. Like he was good set pieces both boxes. Like he was good. Scored goals, right? And he was confident, like mad confident. Spoke 7 languages. Like the guy was just different. And at the time, he was like 20, 22, 23, and he just come with his confidence and stuff like that. And I remember one game, we were playing Chelsea away, and I think I didn't start the game. I didn't play. I'm injured or something. I don't know. Anyway, Robbie and someone, maybe Canio, someone played. I didn't play. I remember coming in and Martin set the team up, Martin Yole. And then I could see Mido's face and he's fuming, right? So I thought, nah, he's going to kick off. Anyway, training's finished, right? So I've gone in and I've seen him like on the pitch talking to Gaffer, Martin Yole. So as he's coming, I said, what happened? He goes, I told him. I said, we told him what? He goes, I said to him, nah, don't put me in the squad. I said, what? Just a young player, you know. Like, there's loads of games, like, be pissed off on that, but maybe do it after the game, because the boys might still win. I told him, no, I'm not coming. I said, what did he say? So they were just going back and forth. I said to him, listen, he said, I've got a son at home. I'm a big man. You think you can treat me like a kid? When I've got a son at home, no chance. He said, if I play or don't put me in the squad, I'm not coming. He just put it on he just put it on him. Just told him straight. He said, don't treat me like a little kid. Like I'm not, yeah, he just told him straight, and I thought, nah, this guy's crazy.
Off it, mate. And Taarabt, how good was he? How good could he have been?
Yeah, man. Oh my God. You know I mentioned about Joe Cole before?
Yeah. He's the closest you've seen it?
Yeah. Like, he would do things that, I remember he'd come over and he'd train with the first team, and he'd be like doing stuff. I'm like, you can't stop him. You know what he's going to do? But I thought, if this guy can if he can do that at White Hart Lane on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Be a hero.
I'd be like, mate, we've got this guy's worth, like, I don't even know, like, it's unbelievable. He'd win us games. But like, it's one of those ones where he didn't know how to mix it up. You know, sometimes play one touch or two touch, be clever. Just every time he got the ball, he just wants to take people and do tricks. But mate, when he played a few games, you saw, there was a clip when he done that thing, he rolled it. He used to roll it, and then when he'll commit people, so he'd roll it and then go and pop it through people's legs. I used to do it all the time to people, right? And he did it in the game, and there's an image of Didier Sikora behind it going like this. Yeah. And then this would be like all the time in training. He would do things to people like, oh my God, like, honestly, he could.
Would anyone take the hump on for?
All the time. Lads would just smash him. But then he'll get it and just do it again. Yeah. But like, if he really wanted to, and his head was like, he could have played for anyone. Yeah, he could have played for anyone, just for that quality that he had.
What happened at Lasagne-gate, final league game in 06, outbreak of food poisoning cost you a place in the Champions League? You scored, didn't it?
I scored, yeah, against West Ham.
So when do you all know you've got the shits?
Mate, I didn't know until like the morning. I didn't know, the doctor phoned me, JD, are you alright? I said, what do you mean? You know, the doctor phoned you, I thought, what's he phoning me for? I said, yeah, why? He said, no, just a few of the boys are not well on that. When he said a few of the boys, I thought, okay, a couple of lads are not well. I didn't know it was like
you all with the shits.
Taarabt, Jenny, like all these players, the gaffer probably, yeah, and come down for breakfast and that, a few of the lads, I'm thinking, this is a massive game. So obviously, finishing that, obviously, Champions League, obviously us and Arsenal, and mate, and I just thought, this is a bit weird, like, what, about 7 players? That's sick. And obviously played the game, remember I scored and that, and then obviously it just didn't happen for us and that. But even to this day, people are like, nah, that's some conspiracy. That's 7 players ill.
And did all 7 play or all 7 miss out?
Some of them play. I remember Carrot.
Imagine the slips after that game.
Oh mate, imagine Kitman. Imagine Jimmy Bell. He would. Oh mate, Jimmy would have been like, nah, take that and wash it yourself.
What jinx somebody done you?
I don't even know, man. Hope not. But it was just weird and that. But I remember the boys, the ones that played, they struggle. You know what's that? If you're ill, not step, and you're playing a Premier League game against West Ham, London Derby, the intensity of that game and the speed, and it was hot as well. Nah, no chance.
See, around about this time, this was the World Cup 2006. Walcott famously got in ahead of you. Can you?
Yeah, but not just me though. People say that me, but even like someone like a Darren Bent, there was a few. Because
did you have no idea who Walcott was at this time?
No, I don't know this kid. I saw this kid at Southampton in the Championship. I didn't see this kid. Up until that point, I scored how many Premier League goals? Made my England debut, scored again on my debut for England against, my first start for England against Poland, in Poland. So you just think like, when it gets to the World Cup, because the back end of that season, I don't think I scored as many goals as I did the first part of the season. But then you still think it doesn't matter because you still feel like you deserve to have gone. And when they named the squad, I got a text saying that you're on standby, and I thought, standby? So in my mind, I thought, wonder if Benty's going. Scored a lot of goals at Charlton, I think it was.
Can I ask who texts you, mate? Is it the manager that texts you, or is it like Leo's?
No. You get the girls that do all the admin. Right. Annie and Michelle. And so I thought that's a bit. I was pissed off anyway, but then I thought maybe Benty's gone. And then when the squad come out, it's this 7-year-old Theo Walcott. It's obviously not Theo's fault. For him, it's amazing for him and his family. Then obviously the first thing you think is, well, if it's based on merit and I'm competing against someone else, how is this boy gone before me, Darren Bent, that's scored how many Premier League goals, played how many Premier League games, played for England, and he's not played one Premier League game? So it's just, yeah, I mean, that would never happen now.
Did you have other players text you saying, like, how's this happened?
Yeah, I remember Sean, loads of the boys were messaging me saying, like, this is mad. And then what happened was, he felt so bad that he asked me to travel to
You
Germany.
Sven?
Yeah, he said, can you just travel and be around it because anything can happen. So I was like, okay then, cool, no problem. Just train. I remember training, I felt sharp. I felt the sharpest day that I felt all season. And then we was at dinner one day and Joe Cole and Rio and a few of the boys said, no, you need to go and talk to him. He said, we actually need you in the squad because you can't be that sharp and doing what you're doing in training to not be in the squad. He said, it's my, you need to go and talk to him. I said, what am I meant to say to the manager? What am I meant to say to him? The boys couldn't believe it. And then yeah, that was it. And
Did you go and speak to him?
No, I didn't speak to him. I didn't speak to him. I thought, nah, because what am I speaking for? You can see what I'm doing in training.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Negotiate.
That one of the lowest points in your career?
Yeah, that was tough. The only reason it was tough because I knew that I deserved to be there. And I felt like at the time, even if I didn't start, I always felt like it was more hard when I was watching it because there were certain games I thought I would come on and score in that game. Do you know what I mean? I just thought I'd come on, like get one chance, extra time, I'll score in that game. And you get knocked out and I think Michael Owen got injured, right?
Yeah.
Mo done his knee and all that sort of stuff. And I just thought, nah, this is crazy. And that's why I knew the next one, I thought I'm not missing the next one, no way.
Like, no being disrespectful to Walcott because he was only 17 at
He's
17
young,
at the
yeah.
time. Was he struggling in training and stuff like that?
No, but it was just a young
Did you
player.
tell it
I don't
was
think
too
anyone
much,
looked at him, and yeah, and it should be. Like, even though he was quick and stuff, and you can see the potential. If anything, you almost want him to play.
Yeah.
But then you think, if he plays and does something, then it's like
Justified.
it's justified. But then he didn't even play.
Who impressed you? Who impressed you most at England when you went away? Who was the best?
When I first got in 2004, when I first got in the England squad, Scholesy was just finishing. Scholesy, Stevie, and Rooney.
Level above.
Yeah, and so obviously Stevie G, he was unbelievable. He could dictate a whole training session, passing, everything was like, you know, from your club, you go with England, and it was just like boom, another level. Like, and that your concentration levels, if it's not that split second lap of concentration, yeah, it's amazing.
What would Scholes they just spray it a
Yeah,
bit?
Scholesy as well, man. Scholesy had everything. Stevie had everything.
Who's better at it too?
Lamps. I like Stevie, me.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people say Scholes and that. It's that old question, and like Lampard.
What about
Scholes,
Rooney? What was he like, mate?
Yeah, joke. He would play up front, then he'll play midfield, then he'll play at the like play everywhere. Play everywhere. Aggressive. Beck's quality. Watch Beck's take free kicks and set pieces. Never seen anything like it. Yeah, never seen anything like it. Everyone be sitting down, stretching after training. With England, we're stretching, and Beck's every single day he's got like 10 balls and he's doing his free kicks. And we're sitting there, young players, watching it. I'm like that. Oh my God.
Standard the job.
Oh mate, the standard.
What was he like as a guy?
Top. Yeah, top time. And it was weird though because the international breaks was always in obviously October. Always fell on my birthday, the 7th of October. I remember my first trip. Come down, having dinner. It was on my birthday. I thought I'm not going to tell anyone. You know, we just sort of like quiet and that. And then Bex, I don't know how he knew. Captain, he goes, oh, it's your birthday. I said, yeah, cool, yeah, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. And he's looking at me and I thought, what's he looking at me like that for? All of a sudden, come in with a big cake, and everyone's singing happy birthday. I'm like, you know that? I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. He did it all the time. And then, like, just see how he was around the place and how he was with people. Like, we would travel away, and then, obviously, the bus would pull up, and all the fans, I'm going mad. And then he would come out. You know, some of the lads now, they've got there and they'll just, he'll come out and he'll sign pictures. All over the world, yeah, it would stop and he would talk to people, time pictures, got everything. Took time for everyone.
Amazing,
yeah, it was mad.
Who was your roommate in England, just got?
No, we didn't have roommates. But then I would always be with like Ledley or Shawnee. Shawnee was my sidekick, Sean Wright Phillips.
It's mad that his dad was your hero and now you're sharing a room with him.
Sean was my sidekick, and he used to moan. I remember at the World Cup of South Africa, man, it was just like, you know, it's like you get a lot of free time. He would moan. I'd go in his room and I'd leave stuff about, and he'd be like, "Why you come in my room? Message me. You've left your banana peel in my room." I said, "Why? Okay, just put it in the bin." Yeah. What are you messaging me for? Like, I'm seeing him later actually after babysitting.
Brilliant.
But like, yeah, it was. So he was sort of like my sidekick.
What about favourite strike partners? Obviously, he played with some top ones at Tottenham, Keane, Berbatov. How good were they too?
Even like Canute was unbelievable.
Was he, mate? Huh?
Robbie, like you just mentioned, yeah, Berber. Early years, as we mentioned, Les, Di Canio, but Crouchy was the best.
Crouchy your favourite, huh?
In terms of goals, because I scored more goals with Crouchy. I think we just had this sort of like understanding. I think back then, you know, it was like Quinn and Phillips, that sort of like big man, little man.
Yeah.
Where you know, people talk about, obviously you see Crouchy and that, you think, oh, he just hit it, but he was so good with his feet. Like, and you see some of the goals that he scored like
touch
overhead
was good,
kicks and like, do you know what I mean? And he's in the 100 club. He's got more than 100 Premier League goals. Do you know what I mean?
Did
Not
you
many-
expect him to go and be the personality he is now? Did he always have that when he played?
Yeah.
Funny guy.
Especially when he was drunk. Oh my God.
What would he do when he's drunk?
Mate, it's just funny. He just looks funny. Do you know what I mean? Because Crouchy's not serious about anything.
Yeah.
Never seen him pissed off. Cool guy. Always joke, having banter. Top player. Probably deserves more credit than he gets, to be fair. Mate, even when he went Liverpool, the goals that he scored in Liverpool. Yeah, man, he's like, it's unbelievable. What a player, man, and a good guy. But I scored a lot of goals with Crouchy. Even with England, times we played together, always scored. Tottenham, Portsmouth, scored a lot of goals with him.
Yeah. What about what was Berbatov like day to day? Was he bothered in training?
Mate, he used to come in
Did
with
he
a
fuck
bag.
off?
He'll come in. Oh, back then, you know, you wear just to training, get up in the morning, put a trackie on.
Yeah.
Your trainers and that, your wash bag, right? Berb will come in every day. He's got like a shirt, leather jacket and jeans, and these shoes. Where I'm thinking, I say to him, Berber, hair slick back. Like, I said, Berber, that's too much effort. Like, you come training, you're gonna. I said, what you do? Where you going after? You got a date or something? What's happening? Like, you married? What's happening? He's like, nah, I'm going home. Like, all this effort, and then coming to the canteen, he used to have this bag. He'd take out his plastic cutlery. So he never used the cutlery in the canteen.
Because of germs and stuff like that?
Mate, I don't know why. And then, so what happened is, years later, was with England, and I said, he signed for Man United. I said to Rio, I said, Reed, does Berber use, like, does he still do the same thing? He said, Jay, it's mad. He said, the lads are saying, are you, like, what's wrong with you? Plastic cutlery everywhere.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere.
Would he try in training? Because he looked fit.
No.
Never trying that.
Him and Pascal Chimbon, the worst trainers ever.
Just walk of it.
Mate, those two were the worst trainers. Oh my God, they just chill. Berber would just chill.
About the manager, Martin, most of your time there, you were a sub under him. No great relationship.
When we first come in, when they come up to me and he said to me, because obviously David Pleat signed me, then Jack Santini come in. When Jack Santini come in, it was me and Canute that played. Obviously scored a lot of goals, and then Martin Yeo come up to me. Martin Yeo was actually with Jack Santini, part of the coaching staff.
Right.
And he said to me, I'm going to make you like phenomenon, like even next level. I was like, okay, this guy like Dutch, like he likes me. Come in, started playing and that, and then he started rotating the team. And then one day he did something, and then I thought he had I thought it was personal. No, sometimes you should never take it personal when coaches change it, because at the end of the day, Robbie was a top player as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the goals he scored for Ryan. So I never, in terms of that, I didn't take it personal when he used to change the teams. I thought, well, if I play and I'll do well and I score, like, and he takes me out of the team and Robbie's playing, I'm not going to sort of like think, because Robbie's a top player as well, and then he would always do his stuff. So I scored a hat-trick against Southampton on a Saturday, against Harry's team, right? I was flying that season. I was playing every game, to be fair. Scored a hat-trick, and then I thought, you know, when you score a hat-trick, you just can't wait till the next game. Played against Blackburn, midweek, had a sleep in the afternoon, went on a walk before pre-match. Went on a walk. As I'm walking, he's come up to me, the manager, and he's put his arm around me, so I thought, okay. He goes, his exact words, he said, you're going to think I'm crazy, but you're going to be on the bench now, I'm going to arrest you and that. I said, what? So I started laughing, you know, like I thought, this guy's winding me up. I said, I scored a hat-trick on a weekend. Like, he said, no, but like, I'm going to change the team, blah, blah, blah. You know, trying to keep people happy. And I remember thinking, nah, I said, that's not right. I said, how can you score a hat-trick on a Saturday and the managers, you say about resting. No, you're dropping me, I'm not playing. I don't care I don't want to hear about resting. I'm not playing. And then obviously, and then Robbie played. And I always felt like it got to a point where I couldn't get no rhythm. I played 2 games and I could never play 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games until I come back. And then when Harry there, and obviously I played every game. But with Martin Yeo, it just got to a point where I just weren't playing. And then that's why I ran my contract down. So I thought, there's no point me signing a contract when I'm not playing. I love Tottenham, but I thought there's no point me just signing a contract for what? For more money when I'm not playing. I need to play football and score goals and play for England. That's all. Especially when you're young. Do you know what I mean? Money's going to come. You don't need to worry about that. And I remember running my contract down, and it got to a point where he sort of like got involved in the politics a little bit. And then there was a game. I think, you know, when they try and get to you, they leave you at the team. Yeah. They try and get to you. I didn't react because I wanted to stay at Tottenham anyway.
What did he do to try to get to you? Call you out?
Nah, just little things like, you know, like just, I remember there was little things. I remember I scored a goal one time, I took my top off and that, and he said something in the meeting like, oh yeah, what are you doing that for? I thought, yeah, but I just scored. Like, what's wrong? Like, do you know what I mean? What are you doing that for? Because I don't know, I think I got booked. But just having a dig in that, so I didn't react, so I just thought, oh, wait, whatever. Then it was playing against Arsenal on a Saturday. On a Friday, he's called me in his office. He said to me, because what happened was, because I was going into 1 year of my contract, but Aaron Lennon signed a new contract, Tom, JJ, Robbie, all the boys, Dorse, they all signed their new contracts. So he said to me, he said, I'm going to leave you at the squad. You're not signing your new contract. We don't want another Sol Campbell at this club. All your friends have signed a contract and you're not signed, so I'm going to leave you at the squad. I thought, okay. I said, yeah, cool, no problem. I said, to be fair, I said, do you think I've got nothing to prove here? I said, the fans love me here. Squad guys got nothing to prove. Like, so, cool, no problem. I said, if you want to get involved in politics and all that sort of stuff, cool. I said, no problem. And what I did was, I thought, what I'm going to do is, because I thought the fans are going to think, how am I not in the squad? So I thought, what I'm going to do is, the players arrive early to the stadium, but I'm going to get there exactly the same time in my car, in my normal gear. So I remember pulling up and all the fans were there and I put my window down. They were like, I said, nah, I'm not in the squad. They were like, what? I'm not in the squad. Watched the game in my box. Just went Adebayor, you know, the ball come and he flicked it up and he volleyed it.
Yeah.
I think Dorse was marking him. They beat us 3-1. But then midweek on a Thursday night, we had a Europa League game. So obviously I'm on the bench, right? And I don't know how to describe it, yeah? But you know, sometimes when you've got something to prove, I always think it's dangerous for the manager. Because with me, I think, like, if I feel like I've got something to prove and I feel like you've took the piss, the only way I can control that is when I get on the pitch. Because once I'm on there, then you cannot do anything, right? So I remember sitting there and I was raging, but controlled, right? And I just thought to myself, if I get on this pitch, yeah, you are going to be embarrassed because you left me at the squad on the weekend. He's put me on, stadium's gone mad, the ball's come to me on the edge of the box. I've got it in my right foot. I could see the keeper. It was off his line. I could see him. So I've shifted like that. I didn't even look and I just dinked him. My first touch. Went over him and like that. The boys grabbed me, right? They lift me up and that. And the camera's gone straight to Martin Yole. And you can see he's like, looked agitated. It's quite embarrassing because you don't know. I'm not saying if I would have played on a weekend, would have won, but I should have been on the squad. If I'm doing that second touch, someone gave it to me. I was about 25 yards out. Someone played it to me. I cut back on my front, I just whipped it in the top corner. So I scored 2 in about 10 minutes. Again, the camera went on him. And for me, that was the best way answer him. There's no, do you know what I mean? I'd rather that than knock on his door and have like an argument. What am I doing that for? I don't need to do that because at some stage, you have to play me at some stage or give me minutes. And then that's what I did. And
then after the game?
Well, what's he going to say to me? You know, that one of those ones, they do that with your head and that. Like what can you say to me? But then after that, he weren't there long and then he went.
See the Portsmouth move, does Harry phone you up personally or does it go through an agent?
No, it went for obviously the clubs, obviously because Tottenham had to get some money for me.
Yeah.
Young English goal scorer, they had to get some money for me and I think it was sort of like a panic because if I'd got to that summer, the following season, then I'd gone on free. Do you know what I mean? So Harry knew the situation and I weren't playing because Martin went and When Ramos come in, oh my God, this guy. He come in and like, I mean, you can speak to anyone. I always thought that at a football club, in terms of standards, the way you train and where you live, I always thought like, you can name any player. Like, I always did things right at the training ground, right? He come in and Spanish. I was excited to be fair because I remember like, I just thought this guy's a top coach. He was at Seville, I think.
Yeah, Seville, wasn't it?
This guy's a top coach and I was buzzing like to show him how good I remember he come in, the first training session scored a lot of goals and that, but he'd already made his mind up. Obviously, someone said to him, "No, you can't play Jermain because blah, 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 blah." Cool, no problem. And then remember, we trained one day and one of his coaches said to a young player, had a go at one of the young players. So I said to the coach, I said, why don't you say that to Berber or Chim or Chimbonda, Chim or someone else? I said, why you say it to these players, but when it's the other players, you don't say anything. He goes, what do you mean? Anyway, so I went back and forth, carried on training. Training finished and the gaffer and the assistant was standing there and they said to me, oh, can we have a word on that? But he didn't speak much English. As a manager, basically, oh, what's wrong with you? Your problem? Like, you have a problem? Like, I said, I got no problem. I said, all I said is like, he's having to go at other players but are not training properly. But when it's the bourbon and all that lot, you're not saying anything. And he said to me, he goes, listen, if you want to leave, you can leave, no problem. I said, cool, no problem then. I just walked in, took my boots off, I phoned my agent. I said, the manager said I can leave. My agent said, oh, really? He said, interesting. He said, Daniel's trying to get you to sign for how long? So, agent phoned Daniel Levy. Oh, the manager said, Jermain can leave today. No, what's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, cut long story short, played against Derby on the weekend, walked into the change room, the captain armband's on my peg.
No way.
So I thought, okay, this manager told me in the midweek, you can leave, and then you had a problem with me, all of a sudden now on the weekend, you start me and you make me captain. But nah, this guy's a joke. And then, yeah, I thought this guy's a joke. Obviously, Daniel must have said to him, no,
you
like,
just shot it.
Yeah. And then, didn't really, and I just didn't believe that he was right for the club because like, he tried to change everything, even like the food. I thought, you're the manager. Get a nutritionist come in, but you're the manager. He tried to change too much, and then that was it. And then once the two clubs agreed, and then I just want to play. Harry phoned me. Harry just phoned me and said to me, what was your answer for at Tottenham? Like, what's happening? Like, what was the stumbling blocks and all that sort of stuff? I told him. He goes, so how much do you want? How many years? 4 years, boss. How much? Okay, cool, done. Come and sign.
I noticed you told us the years, but you never told us how much.
Huh?
How much money?
At Portsmouth, I signed a 4-year contract, 65 grand a week.
Not bad.
And the thing is, and when I was at Tottenham, it was like, for me, it went about, if someone was earning a lot more, for me, it wasn't even about that. It was about, I think I'm worth this money because I know, like, if I'm always in the England squad and the other forwards in and around me are earning that sort of money at the time, then I think I deserve that because I'm amongst those sort of players. And Harry just said to me, yeah, no problem. And then my mum asked for a goal bonus and that. Harry's like, what do you think?
Your mum asked who, Harry?
Yeah, my mum. Harry goes, what do you think we're paying this money for? What, to miss them? He says it all the time.
He does say that. So what, did your mum used to come to the meetings with you?
Everywhere.
What do you mean?
My mum used to come everywhere. My agent would do the deal. And then my mum would be like, no. If there's anything, she'll be like, okay, we'll sign this, but what about the goal bonus? Because if he scores his goals and then like, she got more chance of winning the game and that. Harry goes,
who's her favourite manager, Harry?
She loves Harry.
Yes,
I think she's in Harry's book. Harry knows my mum from like obviously when I was 15 at West Ham.
Right, of course.
So Harry's like, oh, Sandra, come on, what do you think? I'm not paying me all this money to miss them. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I signed a 4-year contract. And then my medical, I went to Fratton Park and that, the physio stretched my hamstrings. Harry was like, nah, sign, he's fit. I know him, I know Jade, like, he's sign it. And Benjani went to Man City.
Just quickly, what's Levy like?
Daniel, you know what it is with Daniel? People don't know Daniel. He's got this sort of like...
is he a geek?
This perception. He's just Daniel's a proper businessman, and I know people have got their opinions, but then if you want to go into business and you want to sort of like, say you want to run a football club, and you think, forget about playing and that. Now I want to run a football club. Who would you look at? In terms of like, who would you look at and be like, yeah, I like the way he does things. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like the best training ground, the best in class. He always wants best in class.
Yeah.
I want the top coaches in the academy. I want to get the top managers. I want the best stadium. And he's managed to do that. And now that Tottenham won the trophy, it was like, it meant so much to him because I messaged him before the game. And he just said to me, like, he said, you know what, this just means so much to me. People don't see this sort of stuff. And people just think, he don't.
Doesn't care.
He just said, yeah, this means so much to me in the football club. Like, and he was buzzing. You see some clips after. I remember he was on stage, he was talking on stage, wasn't he? And you can see how delighted he was. But he's cool, really quiet and reserved. But I've come across loads of people that I've come across players. People say, what was Steven Gerrard like as captain? I said, Steve was reserved and quiet. But come on a pitch, mate, he just turns into some animal and he's just like,
different guy.
Yeah, different guy. But Daniel was just reserved, quiet. But what he's given that football club in terms of, say, best in class, if you see the training ground, it's unbelievable. And the stadium is just something that, well, Tottenham and obviously Madrid's new one, it's the best stadium.
Just on Portsmouth, I played there when they were shite in League 2. You enjoying it there?
Yeah, it was good. That Fratton Park, mate, was rocking. You don't realise, like it's a small stadium, but when it's rocking, for other teams to come there and play, and plus it's a small pitch as well. I remember, mate, the amount of teams that we beat, like I said, we played AC Milan. I think we drew with AC Milan.
Ronaldinho was in the AC Milan team,
I think he scored a free kick. I think it was 2-2. I was injured as well, I done my hamstring. But I remember sitting in the stand and I watched Inzaghi's movement. And he stood in between the two centre-halves and he never come short for the ball. It would come and he'd just spin. It must have been caught offside, like I don't know how many times, but then he gets in once, bang, goal.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it, I was like, this guy's unbelievable. Relentless. Just bang, movement. He just keep making the same runs, get in, goal.
So even when you were like an England international, you're
watching
established, like, you still watch other strikers?
Yeah, watching Inzaghi. I used to watch him.
Just your luck, Harry Redknapp then gets the Spurs job again. Did he tell you beforehand I'm going to go back to Spurs?
No, I didn't know. I'm in a hotel in Portsmouth, sitting down, I get a phone call. Have you seen the news? I said, no. Harry's gone to Tottenham because one day Ramos got sacked.
Right.
I remember thinking, good, at the time we were seeing it. Remember what, like, playing against Tottenham, seeing Tottenham. I had Tottenham in the bottom three. Like, they're struggling. Had decent players. So, like, Fraser Campbell, they signed Darren Bent. Modric, so they're decent players. I thought, how are they struggling? Me and Robbie went, Berber went there. And then he got sacked in that. And then all of a sudden, then Tony Adams, we had a meeting the next day. Then Tony Adams obviously took the team. And then after, I think, I spoke to Harry on the phone, yeah. So I knew he was going to call me.
So he called you?
Because Harry's obviously said to Daniel straight away, get Jermain back. So Tottenham's got in contact with Portsmouth and said, how much do you want for him? I was there like just under a year. I think Portsmouth said, want 20 million or something. And I think because Tottenham in the bottom three, Daniel just had to get it done. And then after that, and then Harry phoned me and said, right, you're going to come back? I said, yeah, of course. He said, no problem. He said, like, it's okay, get yourself to London and hopefully be done. I remember Tony Adams,
fuck off.
I remember on a Friday, because in my mind I thought, even Harry said to me, he said, there's a cup game, but he said, you can't play in that. Speak to Tony, speak to the gaffer. So I thought, let me just see what happens in training. Then he's giving me the bib. I thought, nah, I'm not having this. I thought, I can't, nah. I can't get cupped, so I can't play. But and yeah, I remember I went to London, sat in my house for the 6 days. That's when Peeny phoned me. I was there for 6 days.
Who phoned you, sorry?
That Penis Harvey saying, right, Daniel's taking long, he going to Juventus and that. And then the next day, bang, it was done. Signed for Tottenham. With Harry. And it was just like, and then when I signed for Tottenham, my first game at White Hart Lane was against Portsmouth. And I scored, right? And, you know, people talk about like, when you score a goal, it's always an unbelievable feeling. But I just think some goals mean a little bit more. And because I got a lot of stick from the Portsmouth fans, I remember there was like cameras and that, and they were hammering me. I thought, surely you understand, you got decent money from me. I was there a year. I've gone back to Tottenham. So sort of, you can understand it, Harry's gone to Tottenham. I only come to Portsmouth because of Harry. Of course, a good team as well. So when I scored the goal, again, past, I think David James. Right. When I scored a goal past Jamo, I hit it through Sol Campbell's legs, scored a goal. I don't know, I just had this rush over my body. It was just the maddest feeling. Like, it was the craziest feeling. And you know why the goal as well? Well, when I looked at Luka Modric, he did something so simple, right? And I just thought, oh my God, this guy's unreal. So he's on the edge of the box and the ball's come to him and I'm like here. And you know, a lot of players sometimes, like, you know, if you're there and I'll pass it to you and then you have a touch and you try and finish. But he got it with his right foot and he rolled it across and he rolled it with his outside of his left foot like that and he just left it. He just like left it there for me. I come on, just went bang through Sol's legs, scored the goal on that. And I always watch it back sometimes. I think that is actually unbelievable. Like, it's almost, he wanted me to shoot first time. Because the distance between the defender and me was like this. If he passed it to me hard and then you have a touch, the shot would have got blocked because Sol was really close. But the fact that he just left it for me soft, just, you know, that detail on the pass, like, it's so clever.
Could you tell Modric was top straight away?
It's top. He wears
from his first session.
Never wear studs, and it's just like so silky and just like, mate, it was unbelievable.
Was he wide left when he first came? Did he play on the?
Yeah. And then Bondi, someone said, we need to play him in the middle of the pitch.
Who said that? Jim Bonda?
No, Kevin Bond, I think.
Kevin Bond.
Or Joe Jordan. Someone said that to Harry, and they were like, or Clive Allen. And Harry was like, nah, he's like this big, can't play in the middle of the pitch. We get smashed all over the place. Play in the middle of the pitch against Stevie G and all that lot. Play him in the middle. In between the lines, play him. You're so clever up there, and so, like, you can't get near him. Play him in the middle of the pitch, and that was it.
What kind of guys here?
Huh?
What kind of guys, Modric?
Oh, ledge. All the Croatian boys are just like Chaluka,
Do they not have a fag and a drink in that?
Yeah, they like a drink. The Jaegers, like, yeah, Luka.
Modric on the Jaegers?
Oh, mate, what a guy. What a guy. I went to Madrid recently to see him train and stuff like that, and I was talking to him and that. I was just like, mate, what you've done is unbelievable. Like, but you knew anyway. Like, you just know this guy could go on and, like, win the Ballon d'Or and that, because he was just, like, different. Like,
any other big names that live a night out?
Mate, you tell me what footballer doesn't?
All of them didn't,
Mate, everyone. Because, you know, I think
back in that day, that was the thing that was
done.
Do
you know what I think it is, though? If you think about it, there's so much pressure, right? And then it's not like boxing. See boxing, you get 12-week training camp, fight, and you chill, get paid. I'll fight next year, go and enjoy myself. But But with football, because the next game comes around so quick, there's no switch off.
Yeah.
So then when you get the opportunity to sort of like enjoy yourself, the boys just like enjoy themselves. That's what people need to understand. Normal people and that, but at the same time, the pressure and that demand.
Would you be out every week after the games?
Not every week. Nah. You won't be able to do it because if you've got midweek games,
Yeah, you can,
then you can't. Then if you play on a Saturday, some managers liked it. The players to go out together, because what you do is you go for a meal and then you go out.
Yeah.
It's good for like team spirit. Sam Allardyce, Sam loved it.
He loved the away.
Sam used to say to us all the time, make sure you go out. And that's why at Sunderland, on a Thursday, every Thursday we go in town in Newcastle.
On a Thursday?
On a Thursday, we not go out, just for lunch.
Lunch, right.
Instead of eating on Thursday at the training ground, we'd go out in town for an hour, have lunch, and then the boys would go and get the kids, and then we go home and then play on a Saturday. We did that for ages.
Brilliant.
Play Saturday at home, and it was always out.
Brilliant.
In Newcastle on a Saturday night.
What about Gareth Bale? Again, can you remember the first time you seen him train? Does he get called up to it, or was he with the first team straight away?
No, because remember, we had Benoit Asokotu.
Yeah. Is this true? He hated football?
Yeah, man. That's why it's so good, because there's no pressure. You know, if you're not bothered about something, you know when you're bothered and that, it's like, but Benny was just like, yeah, he's what he used to do things sometimes, you know, like, mate, he's one of the best, right? He did it recently in the Legends game as well. He played against AC Milan at White Lane. The ball come to him, and he would like wrap passes, you know, like you shoot, like into the forwards and that, mate, it was he was the best, clip everything. And he would do that, he'll get it in the box, and he'll go like that, and he'll chop, like, he'll just chop back, and then he used to do this in the box when strikers press him and that. I was thinking, obviously players do it now, but he was doing that, and I was thinking, this guy, it's because he doesn't care, like, it's just like, it's so calm and like, but
is it true you never knew who you were playing on a Saturday?
Mate, Benny don't care, we'd be there, you know what it's like football, at that level, mate, you get everything, do you know what I mean? The food, everything's unbelievable, right? Everything you need, you get. He will come, there's no word of a lie, with a Tesco's bag, speak to any player, pull it there like that, and you watch him, and I'll be like, how are you doing it? You've got all this food, the best food before a game, and stuff that you should eat before a game, and he'll take out a stir fry. And he'll start eating his stir fry before the game and that, and I'm thinking, and no one go past him in the game. If it is anything, no one go past him and that. But then it got to a point where nutrition, sport, everyone just leave him. It's Benny. You just leave him, let him get on with it. What is the point of changing? No point.
So Bale couldn't get in ahead of him?
No.
Did you ever worry for Bale's career at that point?
Because he was young, he done well at Southampton, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was all this potential, this young kid coming, I thought. But you could see signs that it was really dynamic. It was quick. And you could see signs. I remember he trained with the first team, but what happened was, what killed him is, every time he was involved, every time he played, we didn't win. We got beat. So he nearly went on loan, I think, to Forest.
Harry's definitely the type of guy that notices that as he uses stuff like that.
Yeah, mate. He nearly went on loan to Forest, and it was the African nations, I think. And then Gareth got into the team, done all right, done well, and he started getting the ball, and just like facing people up and just kicking it down, just kicking it and running past them. You know, we see. You know, you get kids that are late developers. Yeah. You get the ones that are early developers, and then they just like kick it past and just run. You got that big kid in the playground. That's what it was like. I thought, I've never seen anything like this. I see players do tricks, and Leonard beat people, but I've never seen someone just knock it past people. He started doing that, nicked a few goals, blah, 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 blah. Time went on, went to San Siro, scored a hat-trick, and then that was it. After that game, I think...
You playing that game? I
was injured.
Are you watching at the stand? Or in the house?
So that was after the World Cup in South Africa, and I came back and I ruptured all my ankle ligaments in the England game. So I missed all the group stages. I remember at home watching it, and I remember what he done to Mike. Oh my God, it was like one of the best performances I've ever seen for a young kid. And then after that, I think they put a bid in straight after, 40 million. They wanted him because they'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Talk about Champions League nights. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen. And then the game at White Hart Lane, knocking it past him and just running like off the pitch, and then, mate, that was it. I think that was it. I think people looked at him and thought like, nah, this kid's different. Yeah. He's unstoppable.
Is he quite a humble kid?
Yeah, he's like a big baby, Gareth. Yeah, honestly, he's just like a baby. He's not serious, messes about all the time, and then got to the point when he was established, and he had the 2 seasons. When he had the 2 seasons, scored all those goals, and he got PFA Player of the Year. Just before he went to Madrid, AVB was the manager. Yeah. He never used to train on a Friday, so we used to hammer him. I'd be like, we do the warm up on a Friday, then we play, you know, young v old.
Yeah.
I'd be like, here he is, look, he's not going to train. He's on the side of the pitch like that. He's got the ball, and he's just chilling on the ball like this on the side of the pitch, and he's watching it. I'm saying, Gaz, are you taking the piss? Why are you not just playing? Just playing the game? Like, nah. Then he'll go in, And then we'll come in after training, he's on a massage bed, he's on a bed with Murph for 2 hours. He's getting like releases, he's releasing this and everything and that. And I said, look at him, I say, you're taking a piss. I say, as long as you win us the game tomorrow, like we don't care and that. And honestly, on the Saturday, the guy's a machine. On it, like he used to get it. You know, sometimes like me and Aaron gave me, I think, the most assists in my career. We just had an understanding. I'd wait for Azar, it would beat people, I'd get across the near post, or sometimes I'd go and I'd stop and he'll always look, he'll cut it back to me. But Gareth, he'll get it, and then you think, I need to sprint to the box, because he's just kick it, like I said.
And putting it right across.
And you'll just end up sprinting the box and that, and he's just, yeah, he was. And then he changed his game. Then now he started adding goals.
Yeah.
He just become a goal scorer.
Did you keep in touch with him when he went to Madrid?
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
Is he a good boy?
Yeah. But then, he just loved golf. just
Took over his life, innit?
Mate, it was just golf. Like, unbelievable golfer. I mean, one day I watched him swim, right?
Swim?
I watched him swim one day.
What, in the Tottenham training centre?
At the training centre. And I said to him, Gaz, how can you swim like that? I said, I said, you should go in the Olympics. It's unbelievable. Because, you know, if you look at him, he's got big shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, he's got big shoulders and stuff. Just an athlete. Watch him swim one day. I said, Gaz, I remember filming, I said, I've never seen anything like it. Like, it was frightening. And we used to do this run. And there's like pole, say like around the pitch, and there's like pole here, pole. It was like a
diamond.
I don't know if it's a minute run or minute and a half run, and basically you have to just get back to your pole. You're in twos, and then once I get back, then you go.
Yeah.
I remember one day I remember watching him run, and you know when you watch someone run and it looks like it's just effortless, the right technique, just dynamic, powerful. I thought, nah, this guy's different. The game's just easy for him. Like, it's just easy for him. And I just think if he's on it, like, do you remember the goal he scored against Barcelona from Madrid?
Yeah, when he ran off the pitch.
You don't see that, do you?
Nah. Okay.
You see Messi and Ronaldo when he first come to step over them, Messi, like, little touches and what he does is just like, similar to Maradona was the same.
Yeah.
But then in terms of like play, Thierry was a little bit like that, where he used to kick it past people and it was the easiest thing to do. But to do that and to add the goals as well.
Amazing. New segment, Villas Boas came in and then Tim Sherwood came in as well after Harry Redknapp. Why did you decide to leave Spurs for Toronto 2010?
Because Tottenham didn't want to sell me to another Premier League club. At that time, I was 31. I was scoring, like, I remember at one point, we played 4 Europa League games at home. I scored 2, 2, 2 and 2 in all the games. And then I broke the European goal scoring record, Martin Chivers, that he had it for 40 years. I broke that season. So I was playing Europa League on a Thursday night, and then Sardado was starting in the league. And I thought, I scored on 31 at the time, but I just thought, I think the year before I signed the contract, but I just thought, do you know what, come to summer, I'll just sign another year contract, and just, you know, we just keep signing a year.
Yeah.
I didn't really think I was going to leave Tottenham, because I was still sharp and I scored a lot of goals, and I just broke the record, all that sort of stuff. And then I got a phone call from Ryan Nelson.
He was a Blackburn captain.
Because under Harry, he came to Tottenham towards the back end of his career, played with him for a bit, and then I didn't even know that he'd done all these badges. So he left Tottenham and he become the Toronto manager. So random, he phoned me and he's like, JD, it's Ryan. I said, what's happening? He said, like, do you fancy it coming to the MLS? I was like, right. I said, mate, good luck, like, trying to get me out of Tottenham. I said, like, I don't know. I said, obviously I'm happy because I'm not playing too many games in the league and that, but Europa League, I've just broke the record, that sort of stuff. Like, I've been there a long time. I can't really see myself leaving. He said, no, but there's a guy called Tim Lewicki. So he was the main guy. He's the one that took David Beckham to the Galaxy, right?
Right.
So Raj said to me, Jay, listen, Tim's just basically said to me, get 2 players. So he said, I've spoke to that Michael Bradley, that played was at Roma at the time, played a little bit of Villa, and he said, and I thought of you. So Tim said, if he wants to come, trust me, I'll make it happen. I was like, wow. Anyway, so I said, well, do what you need to do, we'll just see what happens. So they've got in contact with Tottenham. One day I'm at training, and then someone said, the chairman wants you. I thought that never happens. The chairman don't call players up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I sat down, spoke to Daniel, he goes, just to let you know, we've had a bid from obviously Toronto. He said, listen, it's up to you what you want to do. He said, my personal opinion, you've got nothing to prove here in terms of like the Premier League and Tottenham. You've got nothing to prove, like, and you know, you could probably go there and get a big contract. He said, in terms of lifestyle, he said, I feel like you deserve it for what you've done here. I was like, he said, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. Like, no pressure and stuff like that. He said, go back and speak to your family and all that sort of stuff, email and everyone. And then if you want to go, then we'll let you go. So I thought, okay then. And I knew that there was obviously going to be decent money for the club. For a 31-year-old, I knew it was going to be decent money because they sound like they really wanted me. So I thought, okay then, cool, no problem. That next week, my agents phoned me and said, oh, they're flying. They want to come to London and meet you in a hotel. So I was like, okay then, cool, no problem. Remember, I put in this hotel. I walked in, there was about 4 guys. There's Tim Lewicki, this other Tim, Bez, there's 2 other guys. Sat down and then they said, oh, can we do this? We want to do a presentation for you. So they gave me like an iPad and they were like, oh, press play on it. So I pressed play and it was like the city, Toronto, all this sort of stuff, blah, 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 blah. They showed me the stadium and they said the fans were unbelievable, all that sort of stuff. I said, oh, it's amazing. And then they presented me like a basketball shirt, you know, the Raptors?
Yeah.
And on it was like, to Jermain, blah, 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 blah. And all the players had signed it. I turned it around, it was like number 18, Defoe on a basketball shirt, yeah? Well, okay, cool. Then they gave me this brochure and they said, I was looking for this brochure and it was the same as the presentation on the iPad. It was like just pictures of the city and stuff. They were like, no, turn to the back. So I turned to the back, it was me in a Toronto shirt. So I'm thinking, is this still done already? Like, I thought, have I signed the contract? It's mad, I'm still a Tottenham player anyway. So even my agent's like, wow. And then Tim said to me like, so come on then, do you fancy it? I was like, my agent, like, obviously Daniel and that. He said, don't worry, I'll do it. He said, no, I'll deal with Daniel, like, don't worry. We'll get it sorted and all that sort of stuff. I said, okay, cool, no problem. Do you know that restaurant Zuma? Do you know Zuma?
Yeah.
Right, so me and my agent, I remember we went to Zuma, sat down, so he said to me, what do you think? I said, I don't know. I said, like, obviously I'm 31. I said, just half joking. I said, what, they're going to give me like a 4-year contract or something? He goes, is that what you want? I said, well, that's good security. If I'm 31, go to Toronto, it's like 4-year contract. I said, yeah, 100%. He said, cool, give me 5 minutes. So my agent went out, he phoned Tim. He must have come back within 2 minutes. So what happened? He said, yeah, done. So what, 4-year contract? Yeah, Tim said, done. Spoke to Daniel. Everything got...
Unbelievable, though,
yeah, everything got agreed. And then, it was weird though, because the season starts in March, the MLS. So this is like January. So it's like 2 months before the season starts. So I remember, so now Tim Sherwood's the manager at Tottenham. And we've got Adebayor, blah, 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 blah. Now Addy's coming with Sardado, me, and I can't remember who the other forward was. And then, so I've gone to Tim. I said, Tim, obviously, you know I'm leaving, blah, 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 blah. Everyone knows now. I think they done like a presentation for me on a pitch and all that sort of stuff. But then Tim goes, yeah, but Jay, like, so I said to him, oh, I need to rest, like, I need time off on that because I'm going to go there and start a new season in March. He goes, but I need you to play, like, I need, like, do you know what I mean? Because I wanted to obviously I need you to play, like, Jay. We need goals and all that sort of stuff. And I remember speaking to, obviously Les was there at the time, Les Ferdinand. So I thought, this is mad. Anyway, carrying on playing, and I scored my last goal against, I think it was Palace at home. And then, yeah, and I remember we played, scored, and I remember I was out in London with my cousins, had to eat. And I remember my phone rang. It was like a private number. And I never answered private number. I thought, who's this? I just answered it. And it was like, is this Jermain? I said, yeah. I said, who's this? Like Canadian accent. I thought, who's this? It was just Tim or something. Who's this? He said, it's Drake.
No chance.
Yeah. Right? So I said, I thought it was like Aaron or someone, like, pulling my leg and that. I said, Drake? He said, yeah, it's Drake, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, nah, this ain't Drake. But I knew that Drake was coming to London to do a concert with The Weeknd. So I said, are you over soon? Like, he goes, yeah, I'm coming over on Thursday. I'm with The Weeknd, we're doing a concert. And I thought, nah, this is Drake. I can hear it. This is Drake, right? He goes to me, he goes, yeah, obviously I'm an ambassador of the club. He goes, I spoke to Tim and I told him, like, give me Jermaine's number, I want to phone you, and just like, it's an unbelievable city, you're going to love it. He said, I can walk down the street with Madonna holding hands. He said, no one will even take a picture. He said, it's not like London with the Paps. He said, come here and enjoy, you'll love it. I was like, okay, cool, no problem. So I spoke to him for a bit. And then yeah, when I flew over there and then I signed.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, he was cool, to be fair. They flew my mum over
to
Toronto, put her in this big suite, this massive suite. My mum was FaceTiming because obviously I stayed at Tottenham playing. Flew her over and that.
So she's in Toronto and you're in London?
Yeah, they flew my family over. My mum, my dad, they flew them over. They said, we want to fly your family over, and then your mum can look for houses because you're coming next month. Your mum can look for the houses. So my mum's walking around and they said, we pay for the houses, we pay for your contract, pay for the houses. Your mum can come if they want. And we pay for like a whole year, free flights for Air Canada. So anyone want to come over for you. So I thought, this is mental. Like, so anyway, my mum's phoned me, FaceTime me. She goes, I've got flowers from Drake in the room. I was like, no way. My sister was over there and that, right? So anyway, next minute, next day, next night, Mom's FaceTime me, because guess where I am? I said, where? She goes, I'm at the Lakers game. I'm at the, LeBron James, isn't it? Like, so she's obviously she's fallen asleep, right? So my sister goes to me, Jem, the funniest thing happened last night. We're going, said, so, she said, obviously, Mum's sleeping, and obviously, like, all the players have come over, and they introduced us to the players and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, Mum, what happened? Put Mum on the phone. I said, Mum, what happened? She goes, nothing. She goes, I'm sleeping, and then they've woke me up to speak to some guy called James. I said, what do you mean? God, I don't know. They're saying this James guy, like, he's a big, the James guy. I'm sleeping. I was enjoying my sleep, bantering. I said, James. I said, like, what? LeBron James, Mum. She goes, yeah, that's it. I said, so LeBron James, you like? She goes, yeah, that's the one. I said, Mum, you know who that is? I said, LeBron James, you know who that is? You know, talk about Michael Jordan, like. She goes, no way. I said, honestly.
He was speaking to your mum?
Yeah.
That's
they got her over, yeah, and then yeah, so all this stuff and that, and then yeah, and I flew over there, and it was just like.
So did you get a night with Drake yourself, you and him?
But the thing is, he was never in Toronto. It was always in America.
It was in America.
It was in the US.
Any other surreal kind of moments when you were over in America?
Yeah, that was just. I mean, that was like, that was mad. And you go over there, and it's just like, just different culture. I was so like. I was looking forward to just seeing how it was in the MLS. The stadiums and the facilities were unbelievable. I remember my first game was against Seattle, and I remember going to, you know, you get the DPs, designated players. So basically, you got like 3 players that you can just pay them anything you want, and the rest of the players on sort of like not massive contracts and stuff. That's how they do it in America. I think they still do it like that, and I thought that was just weird. And I remember got to the airport. I was like, how long's the flight to Seattle? They're like 5 hours. I said 5 hours for one game. I said, this is, man, normally getting on a flight from Stansted to like flipping Newcastle, like 45 minutes, like in the Premier League in England. And and then I remember getting on the plane, and it was me, Michael Bradley, and I think it was Gilberto at the time, the 3 sort of like DPs and that. So we're in business class. So I'm sitting there like this. All of a sudden, the rest of the lads are coming on, going past us. I'm like, what's going on there? The gaffer comes on, Ryan Nelson, going past us. I'm like, what, you at the back of the plane? I was like, nah, man. I said, this is so awkward. We're sitting in business class.
You still never got up, did you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm chilling anyway. Like, I'm just like, I mean, even my first game, it's about the difference. The first game, I remember coming down the tunnel, 40,000 in the state, unbelievable stadium, 40,000, but in the top 2, the top bits of the stadium weren't even open. It was like a NFL stadium,
right?
AstroTurf pitch. Big game against Seattle. And there was like red carpet coming onto the pitch. You come out and they're singing the national anthem, fireworks. Fans got the like yellow cars and red cars in the stand, all this sort of stuff. We beat them, I think 3-2. I scored 2, like within 20 minutes. Went in the change rooms. As I'm sitting in the change rooms like this, after the game, I see all this press just come in the change rooms, just standing in the middle of the change rooms. I'm like,
have you got your balls in there?
Got my thing on, my towel on. I'm like, what the? Because they did it in basketball, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they stand there, and they look at you and that, and then you basically go like, okay, yeah, come, ready to talk, mate. It was the craziest thing, mate. It was so different, but
enjoying it.
Yeah, it was good.
And then you come back to Sunderland, who are in the midst of a relegation battle under Gus Poyet. Why did you choose Sunderland?
He messaged me. I played with Gus.
What message, as in a text message?
He messaged me, and he basically said to me, he said, do you fancy it? Have we got a chance? I said, well, I ain't been there that long. I do miss the Premier League, to be fair, Gus. And 32, 33, I said, if I've got, Harry tried to get me back to QPR. That didn't happen.
He did.
Yeah, he tried to get me back to QPR, and I thought it was close. And then the guy called Larry Tannenbaum, I think he owns everything. He owns the football team, basketball, baseball, hockey. He's above Tim.
Right.
He owns everything. He got involved. Said, no, he's not going anywhere. So we've spent too much money getting him here. He's not going anywhere. So that one. So when Gus, I thought, if that's an opportunity to get back in the Premier League, then okay. So I said to Gus, I said, I don't know. Gus said, listen, like if you want to come, he said we're ready. Put things in place in terms of how we want to play. We just need you. We're solid. Don't concede a lot of goals, but we can't score.
Right.
So if you come, you be playing, and then that's it. So I was like, okay. Like again, you know, when someone's desperate for you to go there, I always knew. I remember speaking to Darren Bent. Bent goes, Jay, the fans there when it's going well, unbelievable place to play football.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. Spoke to Gus, and then again that got done, and I remember like flying back to But even before that, I got injured. I ripped my adductor muscle off the bone. Because I played, obviously, remember, I've done a whole season at Tottenham and done a whole season there.
Right.
So just like went to, and I remember saying to Gus, I'm in the south of France. I'm doing like rehab and that because my groin. He goes, no problem. Like, we want to sign you. So I remember going to London and I was at home and my agent phoned me and said, right, the deal's done. The owner, Ellis Short, said, I'm sending Jermain a plane to the airport, like a private jet. Can he come up and sign tonight? So I said to, because I don't like flying, right? I said to Struan, I ain't getting on no private jet, mate. I said, I'll get a train or something. He goes, Jay, I ain't going to go back to the chairman, the owner, and say to him, nah, forget about the plane. They said, get on that plane. So I was like, oh, mate. Got on the plane, landed in Newcastle, went to the restaurant, met all the manager, all that lot, had a meal, bang, signed. Just signed, yeah. Just done so quick.
And then Poyet gets sacked in the match. Is that when did he get sacked on Match of the Day? Am I right in saying that?
No, that was Brighton.
Brighton, right? Okay.
Yeah. Then Gus got sacked, and then Dick Advocat come in.
Vidic.
Yeah, we did.
You like Vidic?
He's all right, you know. Wait, Rangers, isn't it? Yeah, he come in.
Is he an angry man?
Do you know what? He weren't angry, and even when he was angry, I thought, nah, that's not. I said, nah, you're not like that. He was all right, to be fair, Dick. I mean, like he left and then come back. Yeah. But yeah, so then Dick come in and then that was it.
You scored the crucial winner in the Tyne derby. How special a game was that?
Yeah, that was mad.
Best atmosphere you've played in?
Up until that point.
Up until that point,
that was the best. I've never heard anything like it. That noise, like up until that point, I never heard anything like it. When I scored that goal, mate, it was just like, you know when you get on a team bus from the hotel and it's like cup final day where the streets are packed. Yeah. Because normally you go to the stadium and then
I'm saying, I don't have a fucking clue. Mate, cup final days like that,
yeah, mate, it is honestly, it was like all the fans was just waiting outside the stadium. Because normally they go in and stuff like that, and some of the fans there but it was rammed. I thought, nah, this is different, this game. And I was like, mate, this is Newcastle. Anyway, when I scored the goal, up until that point, I never heard anything like it.
The noise,
Yeah, it was just like.
Would you ever get nervous for games, Jane?
No, you get anxious and stuff like that, but I was more just like, I just want to get out there. Yeah, I just want my first touch. I want to get out there. I just want to score, like.
And then special memories from Sunderland outside of football. Brad. Yeah, how did that relationship come about?
But this is what I'm saying about, you know, when people say things, I'm like, if I didn't get that text from Gus, then if I never played for Sunderland, I wouldn't have met Bradley. Do you know what I mean? So it's like all these things that happens in your life. Yeah, I just believe that these things are meant to happen, and that was good though. It wasn't good, but what I mean is, it's like, you know, when these things happen, that's bigger than football. Like it was for me, it was crazy, and at the time I couldn't understand it. Like I was just like, because I thought this could have been anyone else. Like he could have liked any other player or any other team. I know he loved Everton as well, but I just thought, I look around the change rooms, there's 25 players, and I thought, how come it's me? I couldn't understand why it was me. Do you know what I mean? But then, you know.
So what was it? He was just visiting the stadium for a game, and he just came up to you and said, "You're my favourite player." So
Louise, who was the press officer, she come up to me, I think it was the day before the game, and she said to me, there's a kid that's a mascot tomorrow, and he's obsessed with you, he loves you, like biggest fan, all that sort of stuff, but like he's not well and all that, like he's got neuroblastoma, and obviously I never heard of that before. Obviously he's going to be there with his parents and that, so like, do you mind like walking out with him? I said, yeah, cool, Lou, I've done it before, you know, like mascots and stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember I come in to the change room, I'm sat in the corner, and I can hear this kid like making a lot of noise. I thought, that can't be Bradley, because the way she described it is like, I don't know, I thought he would have been like really ill. And he came in and he saw me and just ran up to me. He just jumped on me, just jumped on my lap and just started talking. And he was saying to me about his boots. He was like, oh yeah, I've got the same boots as you, blah, 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 blah. And he was looking at me and it was like, you know when you feel like you've met someone before? Mm. Yeah, it was weird. And then that was it. And I remember he came out with me and I spoke to Gemma, his mum, and I spoke to Carl, the dad. And then after that, I said to Lou, the next day, I said, so, like, what's that, neuroblastoma and stuff like that? And like, what hospital was he in? And then she spoke to, obviously, Gemma, then me. I think it was Seb Larson, Vito, Malone, the goalkeeper, and John O'Shea. I said to the boys, should we go and see Bradley at the hospital? So like, he's at the hospital, we just go and see him, because he was on the pitch for us doing the warm-up. Yeah. So the lads knew anyway. So we went there, and we went in, and then all the boys were there and sort of like visiting me. And I think like he had one of those bad days where he weren't eating and all that sort of stuff. And then Gemma said to me, Gemma goes, have you come in and you're giving him sweets? And he said, he's not eating all day. But as soon as he hears your voice, he's just like, he's up and Jermain said, it's crazy. Like, this is the second time he's met you. And so Jermain's like, the boys have got to go now, Braz, because obviously they've got the game on the weekend, they've got to go now. So Vito and that left, because Bradley said to me, he said, no, come, like, he went like that to me. I was 6 years old. He went, So I thought, okay, I'll just sit on the bed with him. So I just sat there next to him like this. I said to the lads, I said, no, you go. I said, I'll just leave in 5 minutes. I'll just sit on the bed with him for 5 minutes. And then I was like this, and he got his blanket, and he put his blanket over me, and he put his head on my chest. What? Mate, it was the maddest thing. And then Gemma was like, I took a picture, and then she put it on her Facebook, and then that was it, mate. It just went mad. Yeah, it just went crazy. But I didn't know though. Everyone was messaging me saying, seen this picture. It was on the front page of all the papers. I was just like, but this is mad. And then that was it. And then I went to his birthday party. I started spending time with him, all the different awards and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it's mad.
Can you remember where you were when you were told?
I was on a plane. So I left Sunderland. I signed for Bournemouth. And then you know how mad this is? I was going pre-season. So we was going to, is it Marbella? I think it was Spain. I think it was Marbella. Took off. And I landed. As soon as I landed, my phone started going mad. What's going on there? It's going mad. And then I had this number phoned me. I picked it up, and then someone from BBC, some press woman, said to me, can we have a few words? Blah 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 blah. Obviously, Bradley's just passed, all that sort of stuff. Put the phone down. That was my instant reaction. I just put the phone down. So I hadn't known. I didn't know. And when she said that to me, then I looked at all my messages. Then I saw the messages, and I thought, that is mad. I thought, that's crazy. It's almost like, I don't know, it was just weird the way it happened. Like, it obviously, because a few, I don't know if it was a few nights, I'm trying to remember, I don't know if it was a few nights before, I was on holiday, I came back early, and I drove to the northeast, and I was actually in the bed with him. So I was sitting in the bed with him. I remember there's a picture again in the papers, and Gemma come to the house because Gemma thought, do you know what, it could be like any time now. So I was in the bed with him, and then it was just, I could feel his breathing change, everything, just like laying on me. And then he'll get up and he'll be like, I want some porridge. And then me and Gemma were sort of like this. Honestly, it was the craziest thing. And then that's it. And then when I went to meet with the team, and then went on pre-season, and then took his last breath. But I was in the sky, and as soon as I landed, that's how I found out.
Amazing relationship, mate.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, he had so much character for a young kid. He used to do the Scotty Arfield thing. He used to do this.
Did he?
When the cameras come out, he'd be like this, and then the cameras come out, and then he'd be like, and then I said to Gemma, who taught him that? She said, no one. He just started doing it. But he knows when the cameras are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, mad.
Amazing, mate. And then you say you went to Bournemouth, but we'll get to the Rangers bit, mate. So when do you first hear from Steven Gerrard, and are you surprised that
it was funny though, because when I was at my second season at Sunderland, when I scored a lot of goals with Sam. So it was me, Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane, top goal scorers in the Premier League, English. But you know, I was 34 at the time, but I never thought I was playing for England again. I thought, that's done. That's gone. It's back to the new generation. And then I got a message on my phone from Gareth Southgate, but I never had his number, obviously. Hi Jermain, it's Gareth, can you give me a call? So I messaged back, who's Gareth? Like Gareth, I don't know Gareth.
Who's called Gareth?
Yeah, what the fuck? None of my cousins are Gareth, or my mates, I went to school with a Gareth and that. So Gareth who? He's like, Southgate. I was like, fucking hell. Even then I thought, what's he calling me for? And he basically said to me, he said, listen, how do you feel about coming back in the squad? I said, yeah, I said, I'd love to. He goes, yeah, because he said, in terms of goal scorers, he said, English goal scorers, he said, you, Harry Kane and Vardy, the top goal scorers. And if you come back in, you'll play, because obviously you've got a couple of injuries and that, Harry's not suspended, whatever it was. So you'll start against Lithuania on the Saturday. So so played. So obviously when I went to Bournemouth, I'm back in the England squad. So I'm going to Bournemouth thinking I'm going to play. Yeah. But I didn't know Bournemouth, they looked at it more of a, bring Jermain in. Obviously it's a good story because I was on loan there when I was younger. I know Jason Tindall, Eddie Howe, played with them. And it's good for sort of like Callum Wilson, Joshua King, Lisa Musette, the other centre forwards. Yeah. It'd be good for them as well in terms to sort of like bring my experience and help the young lads. But in my mind, I thought I was just going there to play. So I'm back in England, so I just want to play. I didn't look at it like, I'm going to go there as a player, but still help the young lads. I didn't look at it like that. So when I weren't playing there, it was quite frustrating, and it was a lot different to when I was at Tottenham, when I was at the team. Because when I was at Tottenham, even at the games where I didn't play, the fans would put so much pressure on the manager to bring me on. So I'd always get minutes anyway, and then I'll start the next game and all. But at Bournemouth, I was going for periods where I wouldn't even come on. So I thought, nah, this is like, am I getting forced out? Blah blah blah. And it got
Did
to
you go and say Eddie Howe?
Yeah, I spoke to him and that, and then I think for them, they just looked at it like, I went there on a free. You're on big money. What have you? I think they looked at it like,
why are you moaning?
Why are you so desperate to play? You've got nothing to prove. Like you've got nothing to prove. Like just sort of like, just chill. Like even if you play and you score or you don't score. Not once did they ever say to me, "Oh, JD, you can," like, it was just like so chilled there. And I think I just sort of like, it was hard for me to deal with because I wanted to be like the best trainer. I wanted to be the top goal scorer. I still felt like I had to compete against Callum and all that lot, but where they looked at it and feel like, nah, you've done it. So it was weird. And then I was at home in Sandbanks, chilling near Harry.
You living in Sandbanks, yeah?
Mate, I was in Sandbanks, I was just chilling and that. And you know what was crazy, right? I remember around about that time, I started thinking about retiring. I was like, I don't know if I said to my miss at that time, I said, I don't know if I could deal with this. Like, I'm getting like, it's hurting me too much. I'd rather just like than being there on the bench, seeing the team play at certain games, looking like I can contribute in that, and I'm not getting the opportunity. I thought, no, I can't deal with this. And then my agent, Struan, phoned me.
He's Scottish, isn't he?
Yeah, Struan Marshall, yeah. Looks after Stevie.
Yeah.
And he said to me, where are you? I said, I'm at home. He goes, Rangers playing a European game. It's on Sky. I was like, okay. He said, put it on. So I was thinking, okay. Put it on. It goes, I always knew Rangers was a massive club anyway, because I used to love Ali McCoy when I was a kid, right? So he said to me, he goes, right, is it Mark Allen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mark Allen. He said, I've just had a conversation with Mark Allen in the trophy room, and he said, we want Jermain. Like, obviously, what's the situation at Bournemouth, blah, blah, blah. Would he consider coming? Obviously, Stevie wants him. I just said to him, I said, Stu, just get it done. Like, I was like, yeah, get it done, I'm coming. And he was like, really? I said, yeah, Stu, get it done. I want to come and play.
Why were you so quick to say yeah?
Because it's a massive club. I knew that you have to go there and win. And I just felt like at Bournemouth, all the fire had gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I weren't playing and it was just like, yeah, you're on decent money, you're living in Sandbanks and that, but it just weren't me. I just thought like, I just need to find that fire and I want to be somewhere. And I just thought, what an opportunity to go to a club like Rangers, even as the back end of my career, but go there and show people how good I am. That I'm still able, even at 35, to still go there and score goals and do well and hopefully win. And Stevie flew to London. So I drove from Sandbanks to Heathrow. Him and Mark Allen, Stevie done a presentation on the iPad, blah, blah, blah. We've got this crazy kid called Alfredo Morelos, goal scorer, Jay, but he's nuts and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, done a presentation, and then Stevie said something to me, and I was just like, then I was like that, no, 100%, where's the contract? And he goes to me, he said, Jay, he said, you know me, I've known you for years, played with you, all that sort of stuff. He said, if I didn't believe this was good for Jermain Defoe, I would not waste my time and come here. He said, like, do you know what I mean? He said, like, you have to trust me. Like, if I didn't believe it's good for you, I wouldn't even tell you to come. He said, this football club is the nearest thing to Liverpool. I know how much he loved Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know how much he loves Liverpool, right? He turned down Real Madrid twice, like, do you know what I mean? So he said, this football club is the nearest thing to any club I've seen to Liverpool. It just like, I was like, that's a massive statement, right?
Yeah.
Then I signed, and I met the lads in Tenerife, and then that was it. And then it was just like,
how was that Tenerife camp? Was that wild?
Nah, it was good to be fair.
Did you get an idea at the end of it? Is that the one that Andy done McGregor with his balls on Sky Sports now?
No, I don't think that was, nah.
Oh, was it one before that?
Yeah. But like, it was just like, went there and that. Mate, I was just buzzing. I remember even after training, it was just packed with Rangers fans.
In Tenerife?
In Tenerife. I thought, this is mad. And then, flew back. And then...
Sorry, see, when he met you, mate, did he say, like, we need to win the title?
Yeah. He just said, like, I knew, like, obviously, even early, like, mate, 55 league title, that's the one. The next one's the big one. I just knew, right? And then I signed, and then we didn't win it. And then the year that we won it, right? Even before that. So when I got to Glasgow, I was at the Dakota Hotel one night. So I was like, one night I was bored, right? So I was like, I said to my missus Rach, I said, she should come up from Sandbanks. I said, let's go to Ibrox. I've not seen Ibrox. I want to go to Ibrox, yeah?
So this was just off your own back, you drive to Ibrox?
Yeah, I played there for Tottenham,
right.
Like 2006, I think, pre-season. But I was like, nah, I need to go to Ibrox. And I never keep still anyway, off my own back. So I got there, looked like no one was on the streets and that. Walked in reception, I said, can I go and have a look at the pitch and that? She was like, yeah, cool, no problem. So I walked out, empty, looked round, all that sort of stuff. I thought, this is amazing. And then by the time I come out, all Rangers fans.
Somebody spotted
I was like, how has that happened? I remember I got the thing on my Instagram, right? And as I walked out, I looked at some names on the right hand side. Obviously, all the players that had been there and won. Super Al, Gaza, like all the legends that had won there. And I just thought, like, if I've signed a contract to play at this football club, if your name's not there when you leave, then it's like a waste of time, do you know what I mean? I know it don't always happen, you don't always go somewhere and win, but I just thought I can't come at the end of my career and not, like, win that league and not have your name on that. Because once you've got that, no one can take that away from you, because that is the one, do you know what I mean? And then that was it, and then...
What was Gerrard like as a manager, mate? So that's obviously early on when you get in amongst it with Gerrard. What was your first impressions as a manager?
He was just big on standards. Like everything was just like standards. Like everything was, this is Rangers. He just put it on people. This is Rangers. You're in there to do a job. If you can't do it, get someone else. Wow. Mate, it's simple as that. You have to win. You can't come second.
But that's throughout the club, innit, with Jermain Bale the same?
Yeah, mate. But you feel it. When you go Ibrox and that, you walk in, I say to people, you feel it. Because as soon as you go in, you're reminded. You see all these trophies on the wall. Like, at the time, like, do you know what I mean? 54 league title. And then it's just like, wow. And then even like, I loved it straight away because I thought, you know what? Even before I kicked the ball, it was like, got the fire back. And no one knows. The funny thing is, I was at the Dakota Hotel, yeah? My first game was against Killy, right? And the night before, I was in the hospital with my missus. She wasn't well. And I was in hospital until like 3 a.m.
Wow.
So I thought, this is the worst preparation. I've come here and this is the worst preparation for a game. And obviously I ended up scoring after like 30 minutes or whatever. I scored on my debut, it was buzzing, but we didn't win. But it was like, because I got the goal, like, and the atmosphere, because even when I got to the stadium, and I come down the tunnel for the warm-up, and there was like Rangers fans that end, Rangers fan that end. I remember saying to one of the boys, I was like, it's just not an away game. So why have we got more fans than a home team?
Have you never seen away fans like that?
Why have we got more fans than a home team?
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. We're playing away. And I was like, nah, do you know what? I just knew, in that moment, that I'll just love it there. Because these are football people. Yeah. These are people that if you come as a centre forward and you score goals, mate, you'll be loved.
We need to talk about your teammates. Obviously, Gerrard sold it to you that we've got this mad striker, Morelos. What was your first impressions of him?
I thought he was good. I thought, yeah, this guy's got potential because it reminded me of like, you know, like temperament, like Rooney. When Wazza first came through, he was so aggressive. And then people were talking about, yeah, but I think if you take that away, I used to say to Rangers fans all the time, no, but if you take that, because he kept getting sent off, I say, if you take that away from him, he wouldn't be the same player. Like, he's aggressive, he gets wound up and stuff like that. Obviously, he'll learn in that, but he needs that. Do you know what I mean? And like, he scored goals. And there was periods when I thought, this kid, man, he's like, but then obviously there's periods where you think, oh, why are you doing this?
What's the craziest thing that he done that you think, why are you doing that?
He's around it. And by the way, he talks good English, by the way.
Does he? The kids on?
Mate, don't let kids on, massive. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Don't speak it, like, trust me, he'd walk around the training ground, he's getting a massage and he's got 4 phones in his hand. Like this, 4 phones. It's like, bro, come. He's showing me all these mad stuff that happens on the streets in Colombia and all the other stuff. Yeah. But like, just proper. With the boys, it was proper. But we had a good group though. Who
else you got on with, teammates?
All the boys. Andy, like Scotty, Davo, Greasy, the maddest guy ever. He's
Alan McGregor. In what way? What did he do?
I'll put him in my top 3 goalkeepers that I played with.
Wow.
I'll put him in the top 3 because I see him do things, and I'm like, wow. You can't coach that. That's natural. Like what you do there, like that's natural. Like and plus, the times I've seen you drink, how can you even see the ball?
He loves a drink, doesn't he?
Do you know what I mean? Like there's one save in the Europa League. Do you remember the save? It was against Red Star, I think it was.
Yeah.
And mate, I was like, I said to the boys, I think that's the best save I've ever seen. The geezer's headed it down, and he's literally, it was like, I've never seen anything like it. But do you know why? Do you know why he was so good? Because Greasy was so focused in training. Like everything was serious. Because he knew what it meant to play for Rangers. Yeah. So it was always serious. It was always about winning. No, like, do you know what I mean? And he'd won before, Dave had won before. So we had players that had won before, and it's just, for those players to lead the rest.
Okay, you know what it takes.
Okay, yeah, you show us how to do it. And then once we do it together, And once we win, but that pre-season, I knew we'd win that league. That I knew we'd win.
Well, see, second season you scored 17 goals, but you end up 13 points behind. Did you worry for Gerrard's job at that stage after the game against Hamilton?
Yeah, he used
think he's away.
Yeah, it was the kick-off. Yeah, it was the kick-off. The gaffer he become angry, and it was.
What's the angriest you've seen him? You remember?
Mate,
was there a particular game that got
throwing stuff like proper. He would stick it on people. Mate, he would stick it on people. He would say to people, I remember Kenty and some of the boys would be like, fuck it, any chance you coming to the party? Like, he would put it on people. Honestly. And then we knew, I mean, the only negative really was COVID. But then I say to people, like, people talk about, yeah, but it's COVID. I said, yeah, but we can hear the fans outside the stadium. So it felt like they was in the stadium anyway. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Certain games, I could hear the fans, Livingston away and stuff like that. Like, you can hear the fans outside singing the songs and all that sort of stuff. I know they went in the stadium, but coming back that pre-season, I just said it was just a different kind of focus. We had a long, we didn't travel anywhere. We had 7 weeks to prepare. I remember the training, the double sessions, the lads doing the gym stuff. I said nothing's stopping us this year.
And how much emphasis would Stevie put on the stopping the 10 in a row? Was that spoken about a lot?
Yeah, mate. This season we have to, Stevie. We have to. Listen, it's a long season, and obviously you take each game as it comes. Do you know what I mean? But then I think the manager sensed it. I think he knew. But he was big on standards and stuff like that. Massive on standard. That was everything. Training sessions, he used to drive, like Mick Bill, Gary McAllister, every game, every session. Lads weren't going out. No one used to go. I know it's COVID, but no one was going out. Just focused.
Focused on it. And he asked you this quickly on the Mick Beale thing, because he gets a lot of credit for the coaching when Gerrard was there. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, of course. And Steve would say it.
Yeah. And how good are we Tottenham in terms of coach? You've obviously played at the top level.
Yeah, but you need that though.
How was his coaching compared to other coaches that you've done in the past? Was it top?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good.
In terms of what, attention to detail?
Attention to detail, how we played. Because obviously we had 2 fullbacks that used to play wide, high and wide. Borna and Tav, high and wide. We've got a lot of assists from there, a lot of crosses. The 2 centre-backs split. One of Jacko used to always go into that. So Jacko would go into that fullback position to get the ball and start the build. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
Then we play 1 centre forward, but 2 number 10s close.
Yeah.
Instead of 2 wingers high and wide. We do that with our fullbacks, but the 2 10s are close like that. So you got it's like 3, 4. So it's a front 5 really. It was like like the tactics and stuff. Yeah, it was proper. Even against Salty. Remember when Scotty scored that goal? Before that game, I remember Mick said, we're not pressing. Let them have the ball. Just we're going to stay compact. And I remember the whole week we've done the shape and that, just compact and that, just let them have the ball and that. Just everything we did. And that, I remember we won that game 2-0. But Mick coached for 20 years.
Yeah. Stevie, amazing Brazil.
Yeah, we played for 20 years. Mick said to me, so we played for 20 years. He coached for 20 years. So then the players need the help from the coach. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you become a manager like Stevie, like you need someone like a Mick.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Stevie's learning on the job.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the meetings and stepping in and saying what he wanted to say, he was brilliant. How he dealt with the press in the meetings, what he had to say. Remember what we played against? Who did we play against away? Was it Hibs away? I think we wore the red kit. I remember I scored a goal when he come over and I chested it down. I finished near post, and before the game, they'd done an article, basically saying about Alfredo suspended and that can Rangers win? Like Steve, we went in a meeting, sat down, and then he pressed the thing in the screen. It was just an article. So he basically said to us, he said, "What are we, a one-man team then? Like, like." And you see, they think, are they taking it? What? Just because one player's missing? Like, good this team is, the players and that. I think a lot of boys took it personal, mate. On that day, you play a football match and that, we were unbelievable. The patterns, the passing, the goals. I remember Joe Rebo scored earlier, I scored, and I can't remember who else scored in that, but it was just the performance. But I just thought the manager's so clever.
Yeah.
Even when we won the league and we played against, we played Celtic, beat them, it was at 4-1 at home, and then Aberdeen beat them. But before one of the games, we came in. I know managers have done it since, I heard that. And then again, the video, nothing about football. And he pressed play, sitting there. And he was like, then your family would just pop up, saying, well done for the season. Good luck today. So proud of you. Like, every single person's family, wife, kids, mum, dad, like, that's what he done. That whole montage. Mum? Loads of my family. Like, just that big message. I was like, and I just thought, it's so mad than that, because obviously he got Katie to do it. It was like the press officer and that, or like player liaison. But you know when you see it and it's like, fucking hell, when did they do that?
Yeah.
Or when did Mum, like, it was just mad. We just didn't expect it and that. The lads were just like tearing, like, it was mad.
Just what players impressed you at Rangers? Who impressed you the most?
Oh, loads. Obviously, I mentioned Griggsy, Jacko.
Ryan Jack, yeah.
Technically, yeah. Jacko scored, obviously, Devo. I knew Devo, obviously, from Southampton, so I knew Devo anyway when I signed with him. Kenty was top. On his day.
Says Kent was top.
Mate, it was so, like, sharp. Like, with the ball and that, like, so good for Rangers. Joe Aribo, young player. Because I remember speaking to Stevie and that, and he said to me, Jay, we need this Joe Aribo and that. So I was like, Gaffer, let me phone him. Boom, got him.
So you phoned Aribo to try and get us in for Rangers?
I seen he's come to Rangers. He's like, really, uncle? I said, trust me, I'm telling you, you need to come to Rangers. Sign. Glenn Kamara, right? So he was at Dundee.
Yeah.
But I knew he was at Arsenal when he was younger. First training sessions, I watched this kid come around, shook hands. Oh, fucking hell. Tight grip and that, thought, all right. Come in the training sessions and, you know, like, when the ball comes to you, take on your back foot. He had these hips.
Yeah.
Take on his back foot and he's like, let's hand to the gaffer. I said, who's this kid? Like, where's he been? No disrespect to Dundee and that, but I thought we'd, like, from what I'm seeing from this training session, like, and from the first session, me, Tav and Connor and that, I was just like, wow. I was like,
he's a player, man.
Yeah, player. But then, so that's what I'm saying. There's so many players that impress me, but Tav as well. Tav.
Just going to ask you about Tav.
The reason I'm going to say Tav, I mean, loads of players impress me, but Tav's, that his ability to see things, and, you know, I spoke about Beckham before, in terms of his crossing. You know, you talk about players like being consistent. Like, he was so consistent. Like, when Tav got it, you always fancy him to put it in the right areas, or you always fancy him to, for some reason, get goals, arrive at the right time, free kicks. You think in certain areas, you think, you know what? I actually fancy him to score in that. It was like a dead ball specialist, and I just thought, I don't think there'll be many players with that sort of quality, because he was so consistent with it. And I just didn't know. I just thought, wow, this guy's like, I know he was at Newcastle when he was younger and that, but I was just like, nah, this guy is.
Do you think the stick he gets is unfair for the fans?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's got more than 100 goals.
Yeah, crazy.
A fullback.
Yeah, crazy.
He's got 100 goals as a fullback, like big goals as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe he should have won more for how long he's been there. But then he won the big one, didn't he? So
yeah. Obviously, you've had so many highs in your careers, but how do you look back on that time at Rangers?
Yeah, that was mad. Because you know what I say to people, like, you know, like now, right? Harry Kane's done what he's done, and he's gone to Bayern Munich and he's got his first league title. Because you know what, in any league, it's so difficult to get a league title, right? And when we did it there, even for me, I was just like, this is unbelievable. The celebrations, and I remember the streets were just like, never seen anything like it. Remember hanging out the window, the celebrations. Jimmy trying to get me to drink the strongest whiskey.
And you obviously didn't drink. He's trying to get you.
I said, Jim, I can't drink that. And then honestly, I went like that. I said, drink. Jim, he was like, drink. I said, Jim, I can't. And then Connor Golson's come behind me, give me that bang. I just walked off. Like, I was just like, this is like, do you know what I mean? Connor again, top. So yeah, it was just like I explained to people, it was like one of the. I don't think I'd want to win it. I want to, you know, if you're going to win a league title, right? What a place to do it, because I don't think there's many places where you can win a league title. And of course, the celebration, watch the Liverpool celebrations, it'll be amazing, but not like Rangers. Like the way they do it up there and the way they're celebrating, the way the fans are, how much they love football, and how, like, listen, we are the people, innit? Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is the best club in the world. So to do it there was unreal.
How did you find out Gerrard was leaving? Did he tell you first, or did you just find out at the same time as everyone else?
No, I was in London. I got a phone call. I think Ross called me at the time and said, oh, yeah, Steve, he's going to Villa. And I think the first thing I said, you know what? I said, we'd be all right, though. I said, the boys would be all right. Because I was one of the senior players.
Yeah.
I said the boys would be all right. And I think I said, who's coming in? He said, Gio's coming. I said, well, that helps because, again, a massive name.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you know, it was that Champions League winner, Barcelona, all that sort of stuff, and he played for Rangers.
And he'd won the league in Holland with him as a manager, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And he seemed like a good coach, and I said, nah, we'd be fine in that. So obviously, it's disappointing. And sometimes I just think that, obviously, Stevie had aspirations to manage in the Premier League, and Villa's another massive club. Well, it happens, isn't it? It's football and that. But
did he speak to you personally, Stevie?
No, I think, again, you know what it is sometimes? I think when you leave places, like, you don't get time to speak to, because you've got so many friends. Like even though I knew Stevie before, but then he might have been close to Davo or like Tav or like, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you've got to think about number one in your family, probably closer to Liverpool, an opportunity to manage, because you don't know what he's thinking. Stevie might be, at the time, he might be thinking, you know what, I won the league here, go Villa, do well, become England manager.
Or a Liverpool manager as well.
And a Liverpool manager, right? So that if that's your ambition, you've got to try and get there. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know if you speak to him now, he might say, I wish I would have stayed at Rangers and won another league. You just don't know.
When did you get asked to take interim charge? And was it a surprise to you?
What part of the staff?
Yeah.
Because then I got the contract, I was like player coach sort of thing. And then this when it was the cup final, wasn't it? So I had an idea on that. That was a little bit weird. Even the player coach contract was a little bit weird because I felt like I won the league with these players and all of a sudden I'm coaching them. So it was, to be exposed to that is, for me, in terms of my coaching, is good. But it was tough dealing with it because I still felt like I could play, because I scored a goal against Celtic and I scored a goal against Aberdeen last game of the season.
Yeah.
And all the players were like, so after that I was thinking I was out of contract. And the club 2 weeks before that, the club had said to me, we want to get someone young in, and like Stevie said to me, if you want to sort of like be part of the coaching staff, but if you still want to play, then obviously you go somewhere else and play, then you can come back and be part of the coaching staff. But in terms of a contract, we've got nothing here for you, because I was like 36, 37 at the time. Because I scored the 2 goals like I did. All the lads and all the Tav and a few of the boys were like, we can't replace him. Like, who else are you going to find with that sort of quality in front of goal? Can't replace him. And then when we were celebrating, went upstairs, everyone's steaming, and then Stevie pulled me and said the board, they've just made a U-turn. They said, no, we want him to stay. But they said, can he stay, but do like both, like a player coach? Then we can sort of like help him on that journey to become like a coach when he finishes.
Yeah.
So, but I thought I was leaving. Like,
did you think you're leaving?
I thought that was it. I thought that was it. But what a way to go out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when I got a chance to stay the next season, it was just like, yeah, it was good.
And how come you eventually end up leaving Gio? Obviously,
because I just felt like it got to a point where I was looking at the team, and I was training, probably the best trainer, scoring goals. Nothing could change from the season before in terms of how I felt physically. And I just thought, this is, this is hard. It's hard to deal with, because obviously we won the league and all that sort of stuff. I'm not playing. And then we just had an agreement. I spoke to Gio, and then I went getting the squad. And then they were telling me to, a lot of the time they were like, they gave me the freedom to go and do all the media stuff. I was like, nah, it's not me. I just want to play football. I thought, nah, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, Stevie spoke about it when he was at Liverpool, you know, outstaying your welcome sort of thing. Because I'd won a league there, and like sort of like respect thing. It's almost like, I'd rather someone be like, you know what? Yeah, obviously you're a player coach. Well, I was a player coach when Stevie was there, but when Gio came in, Gio said, he said to me, what do you want to be? He said, I don't understand this player coach thing. What do you want to be? I said, well, I want to be a player. So he goes, you're a player again then. If you want to become a player again, then I'm not in the squad. So I thought, nah, that's mad. So, and then we just had an agreement really. Gio was like, yeah, obviously. And I understood it, because obviously you had fashion to card the younger players, that next generation. I thought, I thought, you know what, for me, it's the right time. And after that, I was happy. I thought, won the league. I come in, I've done what I wanted to do. And I know there'll be changes. I know Steve had gone, and I thought eventually David was coming towards the end, Griggsy. I said, there's going to be changes. I said, but I thought, it's not about us anymore. It's that next generation. Hopefully they can go on and do the rest. And then in my mind, I thought, yeah, I'm going to retire. And then Sunderland phoned me and be like, I'll come back and that, because the Bradley thing and like the last dance and all that thing. I thought, okay, I'll come back there for a few months.
Just lastly, mate, incredible career. How do you look back on it?
Amazing, like amazing. That's why players now, I just hope they understand how blessed they are, because there's so many players, there's so many people. I've got family members, that's all they talk about. You know what I mean? Like, there's what a life. Now, you're doing something that you love as a young kid. Even if I would have played for England once, I would have been grateful. Even if I would have scored one Premier League goal, I would have been grateful. So when you look back and you think, okay, you sort of like, you've done what you've done. People would always remember you in terms of what you've done, the stats, all that sort of stuff. Went to other clubs, always done well. And no one can take it away from you. And like I said, my life could have been a lot different, because there's a lot of there's a lot of sacrifice, but there's a lot of my mates who are top players, and and there's some of them that are not even they've not got no freedom. I mean, they're in prison for years, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I guarantee if I sat down with them, I'd be like, you know what, if you could change anything, like, or you could make a different decision than that, or where did you think your life would have been? They would have been like, you know what, they would change so much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I just think you have to just be grateful. I played for some top clubs, met some amazing people, and like I said, but to finish, everything I did, to finish like I finished, because it could have been different. The path could have been different. I could have gone to, obviously, Sunderland. I could have gone to Rangers, and then from Rangers I could have gone to the MLS and then just chilled on the beach.
Yeah.
But the fact that I feel like, even though I went to Sunderland for a few months, but I felt like I finished with a league title at Rangers, and I go back to Rangers now, do different events, fight and get so much love. I just feel like it's just like the way it all happened for me was just perfect.
Jermain Defoe, what a man.
Cheers,
Thanks,
man.
mate. Cheers.
No problem.